continue to determine the exact course of the tragedy. The World Meteorological Organization has warned that El Nino phenomenon is continuing to develop in the Pacific Ocean, a move that could lead to major weather events around the world in the coming months. According to the organization, there is an 80% chance that El Nino will begin between June and August this year, with a more than 90% chance that it will continue until November. The WMO said El Nino causes global warming and disrupts rainfall patterns, which can lead to floods and droughts in some countries. In this country, El Nino is likely to cause heavy rains and floods by the end of this year. The organization has now advised various governments, citizens, farmers, and pastoralists to prepare in advance for the possibility of floods, damage to infrastructure, and other impacts of adverse weather conditions. A loaded pistol stolen from a VIP protection officer inside a Nairobi barber shop has been recovered abandoned at a major supermarket. Detectives from the DCI retrieved the Seska pistol yesterday morning following an intelligence-led operation at the Naivas supermarket located at Development House along Moi Avenue. The firearm was found hidden inside a branded carrier bag at the supermarket's luggage holding area. To conceal the weapon, the handler wrapped it in 2 additional red and blue carrier bags and stuffed it among the fruits. And finally, detectives have arrested a suspect believed to have been involved in the arson attack on a motor vehicle at Githurai roundabout during recent violent fuel-related demonstrations. The suspect, identified as Elisha Karanja Gatwa, was apprehended in Ruiru following investigations that established crucial leads linking him to the incident. According to the DCI, Gatwa was arrested after detectives pieced together evidence from the scene of the arson attack, which occurred during the protests. He's currently being processed as detectives continue with investigations aimed at identifying and arresting other individuals suspected of participating in the criminal act. The DCI warned that individuals found culpable will be pursued and subjected to the full force of the law as investigations into the incident continue. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Broadcasting worldwide, Spice FM. Online, mobile, and on radio. Twitter at SpiceFM KE.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who are initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting. People went there, sat, listened, looked at him. There was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You have land, Dennis. Yeah. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around.
Yeah,
why? Tell me what is
first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament.
He admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said
The government.
when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick
to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Residency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu waulizi na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now you abandon, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutuamjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit is itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Members of parliament, they go to settle, they just promised they get given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them they're already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same National Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Haya, ngoja. Hebu sema tena.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. I'm fine, thank you. Good morning. It's Wednesday.
The what again?
The 3rd of June.
3rd of June, yes.
Tuko June. Tuko June, bwana.
Okay.
Hey, this is the month.
This is that month.
Where the beautiful ones were born. Wait, why can't I sit properly in this chair? Ni nini mbaya?
Niko sawa?
Niko salama, niko sawa. Okay, yes. Saa hii, niko sawa.
Nice.
Dennis said, good morning.
Good morning.
If you are born in June, stand up, stand up. If you are born in June, stand up, and dance like an apple tree. God bless you.
How does an apple tree dance?
I don't know. We used to sing it when we were kids. So now, everybody...
Have you ever seen an apple tree?
Yes, I've seen an apple tree. But they say like now, if you want to shake the fruit off the tree, then you shake the tree, then you see the tree dancing.
I think the only thing that dances would be a coconut tree.
Like the palm tree.
The palm tree.
Yeah.
That one, I know for a sure. Dance.
All right.
Niko fiti?
Niko poa.
Hey, nakwambia. I gotta be honest.
Be honest. In front.
You know, it's the little things most of the time, yeah? And today, I gotta say, aside from having beautiful eyes, the lipstick you wear today, it's matted, it's burgundy or maroon. It looks really, really nice. Really, really, really nice, I must say.
Si twende home basti.
Twende home.
Do that kufanya show sasa. How are we going to begin even?
Nasema tu kweli. Yeah. Swahili would say kizuri cha jiuza kibaya cha jitembeza. Kizuri cha jiuza mama.
What?
Kizuri cha jiuza kibaya cha jitembeza.
We. Umesikia kutembeza EVE. Why? Dennis, see you are the compliment giver. My goodness. Is there a place you guys go to school to learn these things? Thank you so much. Let's see if we can concentrate now even to say good morning. If he was here, and I know what she did, she set the camera away from her so that she was coming to help me do something. But she was here. At some point you will see her, I promise you. So, we are on, I can't, you see now, I'm just confused, don't even know where my phone is. Si utuambie sasa tunaongea kuhusu nini leo.
So, if I can also just get it because technology does the thing. So at 7 a.m. we shall be having a discussion around the budget. The Wenyenchi budget. Now, it is a divide to the proposed finance bill 2026-2027. So we look at the proposals that have been put into the finance bill and how that then translates to Mwananchi and how Mwananchi is taking the same. So to have that discussion with us will be Martha Karua, who is the PLP party leader and presidential aspirant 2027. Interesting to see what as well the United Opposition have to say about the same. And at 8 a.m. we talk about the continent, Mother Africa, and that will be Africa in Focus, pandemic, conflict, democracy, and the Pan-African dream. So we talk about the pandemic because Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda have recorded cases. We also have American citizens who have the disease, and the entire conversation on how Kenya as well finds itself in that conversation. So to have that discussion will be Ahmed Hashi, foreign policy expert, as we go further to what is happening in Senegal and the political turmoil that the country finds itself in, as well as xenophobia coming from South Africa, especially after 300 Ghanaians were taken back the country. So interesting to see when we talk about Pan-Africanism. Is it a reality, or is it just another interesting word that does not mean anything to the residents of the continent? And at 9 a.m. we have Dennis Moria, who is the GM Business Development, Britam Life Assurance. And here we're talking about legacy planning. How you save today for, not for you, but for your loved ones when you're not here. Because remember, in life, it is not about if, but it's about when. Those are the conversations we will be having a little bit later.
That's what it looks like this morning. Karibuni sana, and thank you everybody for joining us today. As we get into it, are you wondering if the live streams are up? Yes, they are. YouTube, Facebook, X, find us there, and then be able to push these conversations into the different corners. And also our audience on KTN this morning, a very good morning to you. Dennis Aseto is wearing one of those sweaters, and he's come with a basket full of compliments for me.
For you, yes.
Thanks.
For you.
Yes, Karibu Sana. And Eve was here. Joyline is here. She's also said a word or two. So everybody's here, packed house, full house, and we're ready to go. Tindio?
Yes.
Let's say good morning, because you're tuned in. Before we do that,
Ghana.
We're in Ghana.
We're in Ghana today. Land that has gold, they need to start processing it and owning it. Land that has cocoa, we need to start buying Ghanaian chocolates.
Yes, we do.
I know there's a lady who's doing something with it.
Actually, I was going to say that. I think she's quite famous.
Yes.
She is actually starting to make Ghanaian,
Ghanaian
chocolates.
Yes.
So I think that's great.
That's really, really great. But let's go to the proverb. The strange does not know where village elder was buried.
The who?
The strange. The strange.
The strange people.
Strange people. The strange does not know where village elder was buried.
Oh, okay. Hey, God of Elijah. I don't know. I think about the village setting, and that it's the people within the village, or the people who've grown up there, live there, who are aware of the details. And I also look at the traditional setting. I think about where I'm from, Igbodo. And it's not everybody who knows where you bury your dead in the village setting. That it is the person who knows the place, who knows now where the dead are buried. If you don't have a grave just there for everybody to see, that it's the person who understands the inner workings of the village, then who knows where the dead have been buried. So a stranger is not going to just rock up and say, I know where this person is buried.
Yes.
So I guess the people who are not strangers are the ones who will then be able to tell you about a certain thing.
Spot on. That's it. So it's like when you go to Rome, you do as Romans do.
Yeah.
Don't get in. I will not invite you into my house. The next thing I see is you're in my bedroom. I'm going to slap the hell out of your face. So so when you are a visitor, when you are a stranger, humble yourself and let the people show you how it's done.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think of another saying that, I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that the new cockerel in the yard stands on one leg before, and then gets to know the lay of the land before he puts the second leg down. Get to know the lay of the land.
Get to know the lay of the land.
Indeed. All right. So let's say a very good morning to you as you're tuned in today. Karibu sana. Always lovely to have you in the room. And even as we get into these conversations, thank you. And I think, you know what? A lot of times we have these rules about conversations that we have. Oh, don't be too upset.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be too sensitive. Oh, don't be too angry. Oh, don't be so boring. Oh, don't be so...
let me tell you. If it makes me be pissed off, I'm going to be pissed off. If it's making me angry, I'm going to be angry. If it needs to be addressed and you need to call the BS out, call it out.
That's why
because
this is
for a very long time we've not done that. Look where we are.
And this is why we are in a lot of the problems that we are in.
Yeah.
Because we don't speak out about certain things and we just allow them to keep going on and on.
Yep.
And so that's why it looks as though somebody's upset today, because we don't speak about these things that affect us. And this video that I watched over the weekend, and it just is ringing in my mind. It's a Ugandan speaker and he lives in the UK.
Yeah.
But he said, you know what? You know why folk in different parts of the world are able to get things done? Because everything that affects them in a negative way, they're up there writing a letter, they're going to see somebody, they're speaking about it, they're talking about it all the time. The light post at the end of Mayfair Street is broken. Until somebody comes to fix it.
Yes.
They will write letters, they will petition people, they will have meetings, they will call their elderman, they will speak about it.
The lights flickered. Not the black flickered. We need to understand why. Because
this
we have patients in hospital.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about. And that's why it seems as though stuff gets done.
Yeah.
Because people are involved in their governance.
Thank you.
You see that people are getting upset and you think, why is this person getting so upset? You've been conditioned to imagine that you can be quiet about things that have gone belly up all the time. So when we speak about certain things, it's for the people. I don't care about the politics, who's on one side, whatever, that you insist on good governance, you insist on things being done right. That's why we have the conversations that we do, guys.
And I think also people need to understand that it is not a favor that these things ought to be done right.
Yeah.
They must be done right.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, no debate, no question. They actually must be done right. Sawa?
Yes.
All right, let's say a very good morning to you. And this is why we have the conversation, folks, that you can get a little bit emotional every now and then. I promise. Police will not come for you. Wallahi.
Call police. Police know they come.
Police know they come this one, I beg.
I beg.
George Adimu says good morning and he's tuned in today. Karibu Sana, thank you and for listening. Rongo is listening, he says. Peter Kiari is tuning from Mombasa and says that nobody is going to rescue your dreams. If you want a different life, stop wishing for it and start chasing it with everything you've got. Njeri Mungai. Meskia yo Peter Nania Mesema. Robert Nabogo says, good morning, everybody, tuned in from Mombasa. And Steve B says, good morning, Spice family, tuned in from Dallas in Texas. We need a government that listens to his people. B? Yes. Yes, you do. And Desmond Cheese is also tuned in this morning and says, where? See, Jana Orezo Alingara. Okay, let's start with what is that?
Orezo is president.
Oh, okay. Alingara, where was...
Kungara. You can interpret whichever way you want to look at it.
Is that not shining like a star?
Okay, Kungara could be he showered, he's clean. He wore a beautiful outfit. So Kungara would mean different things. Okay. Or he had a good statement that resonated with the people. You can Ngara in many ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the word Ngara means...
shine.
Oh, right. Okay. So he was ngaraing.
He was ngaraing. Okay. It's like in the morning I would tell you, leo nakuona uko ngari. You're shiny.
You're on a very long thing, my friend. Okay. Sawa. Yay. Life. Margaret Wadjo, he says, good morning, everybody. Tune in from to Spice FM, the Situation Room. Tune in from Houston, Texas. It's great to be here. Let's continue the great conversations. Thank you, Margaret, for being here. A very good morning to you. Dr. Venvic, tuned in from Tudo, Mombasa. Pan-African Kenyan says, good morning from Nairobi. Good morning. Melbourne, knock. Who's there, Melbourne? Where have you been? If something keeps getting worse and nobody fixes it, it's always because the people in a position to fix it are benefiting from it staying broken. My friends, shout it louder.
Yes.
Because, yes, somebody's benefiting from the chaos. That's for absolute sure. Excuse me. Kimiak. Kimiak. Today you have two sentences. You started and said, reject Ebola quarantine for Americans in Laikipia or anywhere in Kenya. And then you say, nothing good will come out of the Kenya Kwanzaa regime. Sawa, good morning.
Consistency.
Talk about consistency. Yeah. Wallahi. Kisa Daniel says, good morning, Spice, tuned in from Atiak in Uganda. And Collins Kimtai says, good morning. The alternative opposition should give the alternative budget instead of rejecting it. Okay. Don't just say no, but say if not.
What are you proposing?
Yeah. If not, then what?
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Okay. Fidelis says, Tupo Hapa, grateful for a new day indeed. And that to be counted among the living is indeed Amos Oirongo. Mwalimu Oirongo Amos from Kisi. Good morning to you, Mwalimu. Karibu sana. Hizakale says, good morning, Spices. We used to tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. He just said, now we see where we are. Sindio? Yes, yes. Vintage Oak says, good morning, Ndu Dennis. Good morning. All set for the show. Let's go. Jennifer Tenya, good morning. Good morning, my favorite duo and the Spice family. Good morning to you, Jennifer. Ndu, is it your birthday month? I said, if you're born in June, stand up, and dance like an apple tree. God bless you. Hey, Jennifer, good morning. Yes, it is. Bwangi Juma says, good morning, Spice FM. How are you all this blessed Wednesday? Kenya is indeed a plantation and we're working for someone. He says he gave us permission to use part of the plantation for Ebola. What? Yeah, he did. I allowed, he said. Richard Odera says, good morning, tuned in from Mikindani in Mombasa. The names of Utumishi 7 should be published to enable trace of their previous character in primary. I just want to say that one of the girls who came up yesterday and she gave a kind of like a presser and announcement, she was very clear in her assertions. And she said, number one, something needs to be done. Because where the majority of the girls who died were sleeping was in a place that was not even supposed to be a cube. It had been covered with a piece of wood, which we know is highly flammable, number one. Number two, it was just an extra space that beds had been put in. There were no windows. This is somebody who lived in that dome. And she said where these girls died in the majority, no windows, there were no windows. Do you understand? It's not that there were windows with grills. There were no windows.
In a highly flammable area.
Highly flammable area, and it was covered by wood. She said, number one, that should not be a bed space. Number two, there are no fire extinguishers. She said, that needs to be fixed. And she said, number three, these girls who did this should actually rot in prison because they ran away, number one. Number two, they were laughing and smiling. Some were crying, not because they felt remorseful, but because they had an opportunity. They were out. They had been, they were out of the fire. She said they should rot in hell. She said these colleagues of ours who died would have been alive if that space was conducive for living. And she was very sober. And I looked at her and I said, that's it.
That's it.
All this long story back and forth that we've been doing. She said very clearly, fix the thing, put these things in place, and let those who did this pay. Period. And I looked at her and I was like, on the money. That's it. And here we are still having conversations. Yes, they were arraigned in court yesterday. The director of children's prosecution is trying to hold them for 30 days for them to do investigations. And we'll wait and see what happens. The thing, though, according to the law, is that they can actually be out on bail. And then what would happen? They would continue schooling. What would it be? We continue to have this conversation. It's uncomfortable. You want to put it on the back burner, or you want to throw it under the carpet. We're not going to. We're going to talk about it. Let us get so uncomfortable with doing the wrong thing that we have a conversation until we agree, all of us, that we're going to do the right thing. Yeah. And we've seen a number of other schools closed yesterday because there was a potential of nonsense now happening again. National schools, big boys national school, shut down indefinitely because nonsense is going on. Yeah. We'll keep talking about it.
The thing is, especially if you listen to what is coming out now from especially the school you're hearing about, and you're like, why haven't the responsibility bearers said anything?
Because nobody talks about it.
You know
Dennis.
what I mean?
If you talk about it, they say you're a troublemaker, rubble rouser. Nobody talks about it until the doo-doo has hit the fan.
Hit the fan.
And then now we're all trying to run away from it. No, we didn't talk about it. We didn't address it when we should have. And then it now grows into this mountain. And then we're trying to deal with it when it's already a mountain.
Wish I knew.
Hey, no, man. No. Call me emotional. Call me Felicia. Whatever. It's okay. But now that's it, and that's what we're talking about this morning. Okay, so let's get through and say hello to everybody as fast as we can, even as we make those comments. Where were we? Eric Awar says good morning. We see you. Good morning. Liumi Jr. Bonjour mes amis. KMPDU has no legs. SG's messaging of like keep your quarantine center was vague and weak. Okay, it was. Interesting. Good morning, he says. Eric, we see you. Good morning. Engineer Julius Opani says, good morning, my favorite people and station. Ikon Dani Ndani Kabisa. Good morning to you. Milestone says, scrap the useless one rep seat. Reduce counties to 7. Scrap nominated positions. Okay. We're scrapping everything this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. You've woken up in a scrappy mood. Scrap it. Nation Gogi says, good morning. Oh, good morning, Indu and Dennis. Dr. Oz insists that the State Department will work out something with the government. Labda hiyo check iko pending ku clear. Our court's decision not to be respected from Love from Arizona. Indeed. Look, about sovereignty of states.
Yeah.
The court has ruled itself and said conservatory orders have been granted. But nothing is to happen in any place in this country. That's what the court said yesterday. Yeah. The AG declined to show up. She's doing, I don't know, she was busy on a Tuesday morning.
So advising government.
Yeah. So she decided, well, no, I can't come. Whatever. So it's like that song, I cannot come to the banquet. Don't bother me now. I have got me a wife. I have bought me a cow. I have fields and commitments that cost a pretty sum. So hold me excuse, I cannot come.
Hey. Yeah.
That's what the AG said yesterday. I'm busy. Cannot come.
CG.
Hey, that's what she said yesterday. So the court said, okay, stop it. We're not doing. Yeah. But then the Americans said, yeah, well, we'll see what we can do. No, sovereign land, court in a sovereign land has said, no, stop it.
Stop it.
So go away for now. Yeah. Harun Kimathi says, careful, Aseto. What do you want him to be careful about? Okay. Leo says, hello, Princess Ndu and Aseto. Binti Wamfao, my birthday month, and should be very everyday. Sindio, the month is packed with many things. Budget, then memorial, more martyrs of motherland, or will state comply with Katiba? That's a good question. Tibbs Muge says, good morning, SpiceFM. Can you invite Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa? We need to have conversations on fake goods and services. Njeri. Yeah. Happy birthday month. Babies, we are celebrating you, Kabisa, from the beginning to the end. We should come to sing Ezeyo. Okay. Wanda, good morning, Ndwana Seto from Toronto. Happy birthday month. I'm looking forward to the conversations today. Let's get into it proper. Muko, this is Grace who's saying, good morning, Ndwana Seto. Blessings to you, too. To James said, Ndu got flustered a bit. Good morning to you, James. Where? Excuse me. Fiery Red says, good morning. Today's guest lineup sounds good. Yes, it's looking good. Let's get into it. Senna Emily says, good morning. We pray for a better month. Indeed, we do. Nyakundi Emmanuel says, good morning, my fellow Kenyans. We're together in saying no Ebola quarantine in Kenya. 1.7 billion cannot make us sell our sovereignty. Indeed. Simon Kibiro says, good morning, Spices. Lock for today's discussions. Happy Wednesday to you too. Mutuflani says, petition for Binti Wanfalme to be doing guard of honor to open the show in Dio 2. Tuonange akina EVE, Joyline, Mutanu. I agree.
Yeah.
Do you see now? It's not me who has said. It's not me. Nini.
Yeah, we'll be next with Parapanda. And we are not going to heaven. It's just Parapanda for God of honor.
So we will just stand and watch. Good morning, says Christina. Good morning to you. Bwangi Juma says, good morning, SpiceFM. Do we really have members of parliament to represent us? Well, to the police, why shoot to kill? Why? Are Kenyan citizens your enemies? Good question. Have a spicy Wednesday, says Thomas Osoro. Raskodor says, good morning from Eldoret. Hottest show, kama kawaida kabisa. Welcome, welcome. Joel Karaoke says he could listen to Ndu all day. Maybe I should do like a tape and just sell it.
I know.
Look at this guy at here, I know.
Records of the year.
Mr. Korosky says, good morning, Ndwana Seto, tuning in from Kericho County. Sarah Rabat says, morning, Ndu baby Abuju. What?
Abuju.
It's been a long time since you blush. I don't blush. Let's have a blessed day. Psalm 107, 1-10. Let all those whom the Lord has done these great things give him thanks. I agree. And a lot is going on. We need a national rest week to rest from the government and life itself. Pin otueleso. What does that mean?
Nchi nafaa ifungwe leso.
Okay.
Leso.
We
call it a rapper.
Yeah, we call it rapper.
Yeah. Rap the country.
Wrap it up for me.
It up,
okay.
Man. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Karibu, karibu, karibu. Lovely to have you in the room. As we get into these conversations, I have decided that the joy of the Lord is my strength, because otherwise it will be a very, very difficult Wednesday. Let's get into it and look into the headlines. When we come back from this quick break, we'll take a look at what's happening with weather, traffic, and then we'll come back and look into the headlines. Don't go away. It's 25 to 7.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Temperatures are dropping. Nairobi 15 degrees and mostly cloudy this morning. We'll see a high of 22. It's 14 and partly sunny into Nakuru, and 15 and cloudy in Njeri, 20 and cloudy into Kisumu, and Kakamega is cloudy at 18, 23 in Mombasa this morning, and 24 and mostly cloudy in Malindi, 19 and sunny in Marsabit, and it's 19 and mostly cloudy looking into Kampala, 23 and sunny into Dar es Salaam, 9 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg. This morning it's 28 and cloudy in Lagos, and 13 degrees and clear into London. It's 27 and partly cloudy out in Beijing, and 21 and cloudy Tuesday night in New York. Coming into Wednesday, we'll see a high of 25 and a low of 17.
Chilled Spice. Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, where are you this morning? If you're coming off the Thika Superhighway, you'll see that there's a little bit of traffic getting into the city as you come through from Githurai out towards Kasarani, and then get past the Outer Ring Junction. There's some traffic there. Also heading out towards the Pangani Underpass. It'll take you towards Moranga Road. So it's moving along slowly, but moving in some parts. But there is some traffic. It's also busy in and outbound around Embakasi, past the Maradaima, heading in that direction. Cabanas will see some traffic also in and outbound. It's not too bad, though, getting out of Mombasa Road into the city. So inbound to the CBD is looking okay. I wonder, do we ever have traffic in other parts of the city? I know Mombasa can get tight every now and then, but Kisumu for most parts flows. Eldoret doesn't look too bad. Nakuru, in and outbound traffic from those who are heading west and east. We'll take a spot check around the country at some point, but for now, the city doesn't look too bad. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Most people don't know that there's a best battery for your car. And when you don't have exactly the right battery, not all batteries are the same. Make sure you get exactly the right battery for your car with Chloride Exide's super powerful Exide batteries with advanced technology designed for start-stop vehicles. Choose the best for your car. Choose Chloride Exide.
Turn up the heat with endless entertainment on Star Times. Feel every moment of the action as the biggest leagues reach their thrilling finales. Recharge your monthly subscription to unlock a world of endless drama to enjoy Novella E, now available on your Nyota bouquet. Dive into blockbuster movies with the launch of TNT, your new home of big screen hits. And for the little ones, a world of non-stop fun on Cartoon Network, now on Star Times. News, sports, drama, movies, kids, and reality all in one place. All for you. To renew your subscription, dial *858# for self-service or get in touch with our call center on 0719 077 077 for customer care. Buy a Star Times decoder at any of our deal shops countrywide. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
21 minutes to 7 o'clock, and this is the Situation Room. We're looking into the headlines at this point, and we'll start with Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. Take them home is the headline. Some of America's leading public health experts have joined growing criticism on the Ebola quarantine center in Kenya as the opposition, courts and activists step up their resistance. Former CDC officials, infectious disease physicians and epidemiologists have warned U.S. leaders that sending Ebola-exposed patients, Americans rather, to Laikipia would be a dangerous break from long-standing medical practice, raising profound clinical, ethical and operational and legal concerns. As President William Ruto defends the deal, the experts say citizens ought to be treated in the U.S. or at the source of infection. Hello, like duh. I don't get it. Some things just seem so obvious, and I don't even know why we're, playing with it. According to the court, Ruto is ordered to reveal Ebola deal details as U.S. experts raise alarm. That's on page 2. And yes, the court actually said, tell us the details. The court has ordered Tell us the details of this deal that came about in the first place. Make it public. We're talking about 1.7 billion shillings. What is the case? A lady is asking questions. Why did you have to kill my son? That's on page 3. Families mourn loved ones as calm returns to Nanyuki town. And these, of course, from the protests that were taking place Sunday into Monday. And unfortunately, live ammunition was used. Like I said yesterday, Kate Waruguru came out quite decisively and said, you can't do this. And there we are with people dead yet again. 12.7 billion shillings budget deficit puts at risk Tita Shah medical insurance. Where is Javas Bigambo? Because maybe he can explain this to us. Alego Songa Member of Parliament Samuel Atandi, who chairs the National Assembly Budget and Appropriations Committee, is pictured there. And the question is, schools capitation funding gap in the next financial year's budget is at 57 billion already, which threatens learning across all levels of basic education. There's a 12.7 billion shilling budget deficit, and so the teachers' medical insurance is already being questioned as per what is going to happen. So is it working?
Is it? No.
Mount Kenya's leaders accused Ruto of ethnic profiling. We saw DCP come out yesterday and talk about several things that have happened that would then buffer this sentiment. And Democracy for Citizens Party members, led by the Secretary General designate, John Methu, and that's Senator John Methu, during a media briefing in Nairobi yesterday, and they were talking about certain things whereby the people's property had been destroyed, people have been killed, people have been at risk, and then also talking about Ebola again. So they were saying, you know what, all of this is just a mess, it just cannot happen. Why lobby group, I would have added other things if I was the one writing that story, want basic education PS Bitok sent home. Now, I can understand why they say in a sector, it's the operations that matter. And so it wouldn't really matter if you moved people around, because we do know that PS Bitok was at immigration before he was moved, a couple of times, and now he's at education. But that there are certain things you must then be able to do to run in a different office. True. Now, they're saying that according to this lobby group, which is the Consumer Federation of Kenya, COFEC, they're saying that the Public Service Commission should immediately, not maybe later, commence removal proceedings against Bitok, accusing him of gross misconduct, incompetence, dereliction of duty, abuse of office, and violation of constitutional principles during his tenure in both the immigration and education ministries. So they're saying, not even just in education, even when you had immigration, things were not running. People couldn't get passports. Lines were due forever. And then you've come to education, and then you've just made a mess of the thing even more, and you're the operation of this ministry, at least for basic education. They said, come and be going. So they've said, PSC, excuse me.
Yep.
Left. Yeah. Because you can't have so many things going wrong under somebody's watch.
True.
Is it a trend? State seeks 30 days detention for Utumishi girls' arson suspects, and they did present themselves in court. Well, they were presented in court yesterday, so that number is actually 9. They were linked to the Utumishi Girls High School dormitory fire that claimed the lives of 16 students appear before Chief Magistrate Ramadan Abdul Kadir at the Naivasha Law Courts yesterday. And they were arrested on suspicion of involvement in fatal school arson. Magistrate orders age verification and maintains current holding status. So for now, they'll still be held. He wants all of their ages to be determined and certified. I don't know if they're coming back today for mention in terms of the decision to either keep holding them for 30 days or to grant them bail, while there will be a case to answer if this will go to court, or rather go to trial. Sawa?
Yes.
The new ambassador to Kenya, and if you want to ask yourself how strategic the US is in appointing ambassadors to certain countries, the new ambassador to Kenya is a former Haiti appointment. Veteran diplomat Henry Worcester has been nominated US ambassador to Kenya, ending a 19-month vacancy. After Antine left, there's been nobody really.
Since Meg left.
Yeah, since Meg left, there's been no one, right? So he's coming. His nomination comes amid trade negotiations, diplomatic tensions, and preparations for Kenya's 2027 election. Read into it what you wish. Court rejects Beatosha fresh bid to stop 300 billion shilling EABL share sale. So they've said they want to stop the sale. Court says no. It goes. Corruption suspects fined 198 million shillings or face 75 years in jail. Wololo. 10 individuals and companies have been fined a total of 198 million shillings or sentenced to more than 75 years in prison after being found guilty of fraudulently receiving 51.6 million shillings from Kilifi County in a sham supply scheme involving air deliveries. Air.
Hewa.
Yani.
I don't know how they packaged it.
Yeah, for real. Yani, you drop and say, in fact, can you imagine that day the truck is coming?
Yeah. Please offload it.
Park
sir.
Hey, Ebu.
Come here with your
boys.
With your boys. Start collecting air one by one.
Then they drive off. Alafu mtu anaanza kufungua. Salala. Nini. Yeah. And you paid how much for it? 51.6 million. You paid. You removed money.
Yeah.
Somebody signed twice. Removed money. You paid somebody. Then you open and you get what? Hey. People are high on Omena. I'm telling you. Crazy.
51 million.
No respect for law as politicians fight for survival in polls. Okay, that's no surprise. Unfortunately, is it crazy that it's not a surprise when people are not respecting the law because they've done it all the time? It's not different to anybody.
Let me make it even better. Majority of them are called what? Law makers.
Today you're on a roll, my friend. Lawmakers, not respecting the law. I mean, oxymoronic. Into the opinion pages in the Standard this morning, Faith Wekesa talks about how we must have an important conversation that must be had on the school's tragedy. And of course, we're looking into the opinion pages then where Harrison Moiro talks about right policy will make AI a real tool for developments in Africa, that it actually can be used if it's used right. And if those lawmakers will actually get, their I's dotted and their T's crossed, looking into the enterprise pages and also into the counties. Get yourself a copy of the Standard today. We'll look into some of these stories in detail. So if you can't, get a copy of the e-paper, the news in your pockets.
Yeah, I think before you leave that paper, the Standard, there's a gentleman there who said Nairobi's growing security challenges deserve special police unit. Agree?
Nairobi deserves a special police unit.
Anyway, let's go to the Daily Nation. Ruto, I allowed US to bring Ebola patients. So he owned up. President Ruto acknowledges he accepted the request by President Trump for Kenya to host a quarantine and treatment facility for Americans exposed to Ebola at Laikipia Air Base in Nanyuki, even as public opposition to plan grows. Now, the court order, High Court extends orders blocking the setting up of the Ebola isolation unit and admission into Kenya of persons exposed to or infected with Ebola. State directed to make public the secret agreement with the US. The president agreed on behalf of 55 million Kenyans. Then why is the agreement a secret?
Wow.
Katiba says public participate.
The adjective here being of that participation is public.
Public.
Yeah.
The only public thing I saw was his agreement to Nilikubali. That's the only public
That's
participation.
the most public part of this whole damn thing.
Yeah. So US official says Saturday's court decree came as flights carrying American specialists and kits were airborne and confirms foundation works on Ebola unit. So the court order ilitupata kama tuko juu ya hewa. So we just had to land. We just had to land. We had clearance from left, right, and center, so we had no option but to just land. And the rising ocean swallows Kenya's coastline, so that is in page 10, and that is attributed to climate change as well, that we see parts of the land is actually being claimed back by the ocean. And the 5.3 billion shillings TSC budget gap leaves teachers without insurance cover, so we've seen that as well on page 6. One asked the question, how does that then go to affect the quality of education or education overall? Because a healthy teacher is a wealthy teacher and is a teacher who will deliver.
Right.
Because I can't teach when my child I'm not able to treat my child. Make sense?
Or even treat myself.
Yeah. So, to which fair tragedy, court to decide on fate of 9 students. So, police seek 30 more days to analyze CCTV footage, forensic reports, and witness statements after dormitory fire. So, we wait to see how a decision will be made with regard to that. Now, 9 Form 3 students remain in custody pending ruling. So, they just left the dormitories and went to
wherever they went. Because I'm actually asking, did they get into the crowd with everybody else?
No, because I'm thinking So we have, this was junior school, right? Senior school.
Form 3, they're in senior school.
No, senior school.
Yeah.
But those were grade 10s.
Yeah. All of them are in senior
So
school.
walienda wakaamua kuwasha moto.
The 9 are grade Form 3 students.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But grade 10, it's now, senior school is now grade 10, Form 3 and Form 4. Yeah.
Hey, anyway.
Yeah.
Why indirect contributions now count as matrimonial property? So court has ruled that a woman who used a salary to meet household expenses was entitled to part of matrimonial assets.
Yes, sir.
Nikanunua boga, nikanunua tokens, nikalipa msichana wa kazi. All that. Si tunaishi pamoja, si you are comfortable. Hii nyumba tunapaswa katikati. Half. Gari, side ya driver ni yako, passenger ni yangu.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah? Things keep on changing every day. Now, court, don't wait past 3 years to sue employer. Employees who believe they have been unfairly dismissed or unlawfully treated at work should move to court within 3 years of the disputed action. A recent ruling by the Employment and Labour Relations Court has shown now the court dismissed an application by a former employee of Nyayo T-Zones Development Corporation who sought permission to file an unfair termination suit outside the statutory deadline, ruling that judges have no power to extend time once the limitation period has expired. So lazima upige uende kotini within 3 years.
Within 3 years of the said abuse. Oh, okay.
Yes. So Ruto now owns up to allowing US Ebola patients into Kenya. Now, American officials defend Ebola facility. Now, US official says the protocol on who is going to use the facility and when they are coming in are ongoing discussions. So seemingly, it looks like we have two sides from the US. There are those who say, bring them home. There are those who say, wacha wakae huko, wakipona, watakuja home. Now, 5.3 billion shillings gap threatens teachers' insurance cover. That is in page 6. And in page 7 is all about ODM. Orange Party turns to South Africa's ANC for nomination lessons. ODM is 20 years old.
Yes, it is.
And in the 20 years, they've had nominations every other time.
Yes.
So today they're going to ANC to learn about nominations. So what exactly have they been doing in those 20 years?
How about we ask?
Yes.
Which ANC?
Oh, it's South Africa.
Okay.
South African ANC.
So all this time they've been telling us that the 20 years that they've been in operation, they've been doing...
Shoddy nominations.
All right.
I'm not saying...
No, I'm asking.
I'm just asking.
If you're going to learn about it now, because usually you learn something you don't know.
To improve on what it is you have.
Oh,
so
okay. Okay, maybe it's improvement. Okay, that's okay.
Okay. How Sifuna wave is rattling old guard in Western Kenya. So declaring support for the Nairobi senator is gaining currency at public gatherings in funerals. Mimi ni Sifuna. Now, Kakamega Senator Boni Khalwale says the Luyas are no longer fools and they shall not be taken for granted.
Isikut.
Yes,
it's very good.
Now, rising ocean swallows the coastlines of some farming communities living near the ocean have been forced to move elsewhere in recent years after salt water invaded their land. It's not only a story at the coast, Baringo, Lake Nakuru, as well swallowing our residential areas. What are we doing about it? Are we just watching?
Yeah.
Why
Somali vote shaping as game changer in Ruto 27 two-term bid?
Okay.
Can't run away from that vote. The president has employed multi-pronged tactic to woo the region. And he was there and shed a tear and said that his successor must live in Wajir. Did you hear that? I heard my own thing.
He must live in Wajir.
Because he has built a state lodge there.
You know what? Anyway.
Okay.
Story for another day.
All right.
But that state lodge was good.
Yeah. So no, I hear. A U.S. House team opposes Ebola quarantine project.
Okay.
Are you surprised? It seems that even some people in the U.S. are thinking straight. And they're saying, stop it. Excuse me. Can't happen. So let's see how that's going to play out, because now then you have your people who are having a conversation and they're saying, okay, actually, no, we are not sanctioning what the president and his secretary of state are doing. And we're actually saying from the house, house, akin to parliament, then they're saying, excuse me, we are here. We actually make the law in this country. And we're saying that this is not a good idea. So they're putting it out there. This is going to be fun. Do you know what I think is going to happen at the end of the day? That Kenyans are going to sit back and watch this drama unfurl. Like House,
stops the president.
Congress looking at DJT and saying, excuse me,
what are you doing?
What are you doing, man? That's what it looks like right now.
But I think for me, lesson learned here is nobody is immune from natural calamities. It would have been a different discussion if everybody sat on the table and said, this is a global problem. We need to find a solution.
Right. But then again,
solution is in Kenya.
Solution is in Kenya for now. Let's see, because like I said, it's going to be an interesting couple of days to see what goes. But the court is very clear about the position that it has taken. You will not override the sovereignty of a nation through its courts. You won't then be able to do that. The court, again, is to rule on the Utumishi 9 probe team's time appeal. So they're looking for 30 days. Let's see what the court has to say about that. What magistrate will say. Shame of using... Now, this headline. The shame of using pieces of mattress as sanitary towels. I'm going to read that again. And you're going to put it against the promise that was made. In fact, the people who were in that women's league, Gloria Rwoba, who was saying that, these are one of the things that pains me that we were not able to do. The provision of sanitary towels in this country. And now you hear that there's a shame where girls use pieces of mattress. Let's not even talk about the hygiene. Let's not even talk about all of the risks that just lie in that one process. And they're using these as sanitary towels in Kenya, not on Mars. Kenya, okay? So when you talk about promises vis-a-vis the reality, this is what we're talking about. For many girls, using a sanitary pad is a routine part of life. But for 13-year-old Somoy Abdullahi, not her real name, from Marsabit County, it remains a luxury she can only dream of. Unable to afford sanitary towels, Somoy cuts pieces from an old blanket and uses them during her monthly period. While the makeshift solution helps contain the flow, it does very little to ease her anxiety. Every month, she lives in fear of staining her school uniform. She says, when I'm on my period during school days, I stay at home. I don't want to embarrass myself. Reality check.
So take 7 days every month of school day. Then do your math. And tell me how many school days she's missing. And how then you as a government, as a people, are relieving as per the constitution of providing affordable basic education for every Kenyan child.
It was one of your pillars, you promised.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one we call it G. We call it on this because they said that they were going to actually do this and that was going to be. This is one of the things that you say when you promise that. Look at what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe 7 in some cases, 4 to 5 days in a month, and you multiply that by 11. 60 days. 55 to 60 days out of school because of something that can be sorted out with, guess what? 200, 300 shillings times 10. 3,000 bob. Okay. Do the math. It's actually doable, especially when you're using 8 million shillings to fly in helicopters. I'm just saying that perhaps there's something that you can do.
17 billion shillings for Chad Mandas. You can do something.
And flying around. Perhaps you can buy sanitary towels for the girls in the country that are not able to afford them and keep them in school. Maybe. No? May? Okay. I'm just saying. It's very possible. The headline on the Business Daily today talks about a new formula dims hope of June diesel price cuts. Yikes. We're closer and closer to the 14th of June. Does that mean that we will see lower prices, or is it a dream?
In your dreams.
Oi, we're still dreaming. One thing we're not dreaming about, for absolute sure, is that it's 7 o'clock.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. The World Health Organization has sharply reduced the number of suspected Ebola cases in DRC from more than 900 to just 119. According to WHO, 321 cases have been confirmed in DRC, including 48 deaths, while Uganda has recorded 9 confirmed cases and 1 death. WHO spokesman Christian said most of the suspected cases were removed after investigations revealed that the patients had other diseases such as malaria, meningitis and typhoid. The outbreak was officially declared on May 15th in Ituri province, and so far 6 people who had been affected with Ebola have been confirmed to have recovered. The Ministry of Health has identified 25 counties as being at high risk of contracting the Ebola virus as the country steps up its response to the disease, which has already been reported in neighboring Uganda and DRC. Speaking at the Ministry of Health headquarters, Public Health PS Mary Muthoni indicated that despite the absence of confirmed cases in the country, the government has increased surveillance at 26 entry points in the country. The counties listed in the highest risk group are Nairobi, Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Kisumu, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Siaya, West Pokot, Turkana, Homa Bay and Migori. Others are Vihiga, Kakamega, Nakuru, Kericho, Nandi, Kiambu, Machakos, Kisii, Makueni, Taita Taveta, Elgeyo Marakwet, Isiolo and Garissa. The ministry has now said that more than 13,000 travelers have been screened at entry points, with more than 67,000 people. I'll take that again. The ministry has now said that more than 13,000 travelers have been tested at entry points, with more than 67,000 people being screened since the operation began.
There are those counties that have been mapped out as either very high risk, others are high risk. The very high risk counties include Nairobi, Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Kisumu, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Siaya, West Pokot, Turkana, Homa Bay and Migori. The high risk equally are Vihiga, Kakamega, Nakuru, Kericho, Nandi, Kiambu, Machakos, Kilifi, Makueni, Taita Taveta, Isiolo, Elgeyo Marakwet and Garissa.
The government is also aiming to quarantine travelers arriving from Ebola-affected countries for 21 days, while more than 1,000 health workers are being trained to deal with the virus.
As at now, we have been able to sensitize more than 1,000 healthcare workers on issues detection and also case management of any suspected cases. At the ports of entry, we will deploy measures because, as we have already been working with authorities from different other countries to ensure that we have exit surveillance, we also are going to demand to ensure that there's screening from the country of origin.
Kenyans have now been asked to avoid non-essential travel to Ebola-affected countries following public health guidelines and immediately report any symptoms associated with the disease. The Consortium of Secondary Schools Alumni Associations of Kenya, COSAC, has called for an urgent safety audit of all boarding schools in the country following a spike in fire incidents and student strikes. In a statement, the association raised concerns about what it described as serious deficiencies in student safety in schools, especially after the fire tragedy at the Tumishi Girls Academy, which killed 16 students. COSAC has described the incident, along with other reported fire incidents at schools in Molo and Njeri, as a serious problem that requires urgent national action. The association has also recommended the establishment of a risk assessment system in dormitories and the temporary closure of dormitories found to be endangering the lives of students until improvements are made. The government of Kenya, in partnership with the World Bank, has announced that the second tranche of startup capital under the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement project will be disbursed by June 30th as it moves to resolve budgetary constraints that has delayed the rollout. The announcement was made by Principal Secretary for the State Department for MSMEs, Susan Mangeni, who said all beneficiaries will receive the funds simultaneously, marking a shift from the earlier phased disbursement approach. The program also extends to youth in refugee camps in Kakuma and Dadaab, as well as host communities. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money...
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very good morning to you. It is 9 minutes after 7 o'clock, and we continue with our conversations this morning. And even as we do, getting into the next one, we're going to be looking at the budget and we're going to be looking at governance. But there's a way, Dennis, to make sure that even after you're gone, that folks can continue to live dignified.
Yes, and you can live better by planning about the future, because all of us want to leave a great legacy. Now, we want to build a better life for those that we love. We want to make sure that after we leave these beautiful places called the world, that we've secured their future. But how do you do that? You do that by working with an individual who knows how to do this business, because they've been in here for over 6 years. We're talking about Britam Whole Life Plan, where you get in, you're able to leap up all your premiums between 5 to all the way 15 years, and you're able to pay through that. We're talking about 5 million to 100 million that you pay up, and your future is secured. So your beneficiaries receive an immediate tax-free cash payout, and your coverage increases by 3% every year to cushion your family from inflation, because what you build today should be able to sustain you, sustain your future generations through that legacy that you want. So what do? You need to send the name live, SMS live, and the name of your town to 21778, or you send a WhatsApp or call 0705 100 100, because Britam is asking you the question. It is not about if, it is when. What are you going to do with that information?
Absolutely. Okay, so sending that message to 21778 on WhatsApp 0705 100 100. All right, got it. Done. Okay, we're getting into a conversation this hour, and we're going to be looking into, of course, budgets and governance, and also trying to ask certain questions and hopefully get answers. When Njeri budget, a dive into the proposed Finance Bill 2027, the party leader, PLP party and presidential aspirant 2027, Martha Karua, is here with us. Good morning, Martha.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes?
Yeah.
I see the signature purple is one that's going to follow you for a while.
Yeah. Purple is with me to stay.
Okay.
It's a beautiful color of hope.
Yes.
I don't need to move away from it at any time. Yeah.
Karibu Sana, good to see you.
Asante.
And thank you for coming this morning. As we look at some of these matters, the finance bill is up for debate in the National Assembly, and there are many things that we're asking questions about, maybe to push in a particular direction. Before we get there, Dennis takes us to Ghana this week.
Yes, and Ghana, we think about Kwame Nkrumah and his role in the Pan-Africanism that we talk about today, when he said that if we are the first country to gain independence in the continent, it would not make sense for us if it does not translate to all the other countries in the continent. And you think about that today, if only the continent would speak in one voice as intended by the forefathers, where would we be? But let's go to the proverb.
Yes.
The strange does not know where village elder was buried. The strange does not know where the village elder was buried. How would you interpret it?
Is that it's the householder who knows their, where everything is. Yeah. So it's the villagers who would know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well said, well interpreted.
Indeed.
And it's Kenyans who would know.
Yes.
That Ebola is a serious disease.
Yeah.
And they don't want disease. Yeah.
That's
absolutely. Without thinking about it.
Yeah, without thinking about it.
So every year, in compliance with the provisions of Section 39A of the Public Finance Management Act, CAP 41(2)A, a national government introduces a finance bill to amend the tax laws, in order to raise revenue for funding national development and public services. The funds collected through taxation are used to finance roads, healthcare, education, water projects, electricity, security, salaries for public servants, and repayment of public debt. That is what is supposed to happen. The finance bill is not a new bill that excavates everything that was there last time in terms of what has become an act. It builds on the previous ones and keeps adding. That's why we see that the cabinet secretary will come now during and talk about, or rather in parliament, they'll talk about amendments too, because they've added on.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with what we see in the finance bill this year?
Not at all.
Why?
Because the Ruto administration is prioritizing luxury, non-priority spending, while marginalizing basic needs of the people. I would want to see a budget that takes care of health, education, not defunding them, education, housing, not the housing bill is talking about, but giving social support to those who cannot house themselves. And basically the things that support the right to life. And infrastructure, agriculture are things that we need. Infrastructure includes water, electricity, roads, because that's where infrastructure enables, the roads enable our mobility. Water is life. It's about not only household needs, it's also about agriculture and industry. Electricity is the means of one of the basic means of production. So those are the areas I would like to see prioritized. I would like to see a cut in spending on, things that don't matter, like the luxury for those in power, the ruling elite, if you like.
Yeah.
Things like renewing their vehicles, things like hospitality. You can see that the budget of the office of the president, State House, has just shot up.
Yes.
And we can see how he uses it to entertain people and give people cash, because that's not his cash, it's our money. The budget for travel, we would like to see a reorganization where we cut wasteful spending. And I'm not just talking about the president's budget, every executive office in this country, because it goes down to the cabinet secretaries, to the counties, to the governors and to the executive. There are just too many people, who are like leeches on our money.
Yeah.
The PSs you have not even mentioned, We have too many people who are being prioritized. I saw Oparanya asking for fuel for his vehicles.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody ask for anything for our hospitals, for our children in school, and all that.
Okay, so it's interesting because what we are saying is that the finance bill, all of these provisions, are the sources from which funds will be gotten.
Actually, they call it ways and means.
Right.
Yeah.
To then get the money for these things that the preamble to this explainer has talked about.
Yeah.
So that the finance bill says we're going to get, an extra tax from here and there, so we'll put it into the bin. We'll get from here and there, put it into the bin.
Thank you.
In order to fund these things.
They're
but
actually
I hear
getting from the wrong people.
Right.
The wrong people and then spending it wrongly.
Okay, so
from the wrong people, I mean, when your taxes are going to hit the most vulnerable, then that's the wrong way of raising the funds. Before you raise taxation, that will end up on the dinner, making the dinner plate empty for families. It is better to cut wasteful spending. Our budget keeps on ballooning. Now we are going above 4 trillion.
Yes.
For who? I've already said how the money is wasted. This money you're getting from the fuel taxation is just too high. It's hurting everyone. Transport, food items, they're taxing, the taxation they're raising will affect medicines. They'll end up getting more expensive, affect agriculture, inputs and all that. So what you are doing is mobilizing money, but that mobilization of money hurts the most vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the things. That's why there was the Matatu strike.
Yeah.
Which didn't end up giving us relief as we expected. Because ordinary people can understand that the moment you raise the cost of fuel, it's going to cascade to many other things that affect their daily lives. So we are saying, stop adding taxation onto people who are already overburdened. Cut wasteful spending. Don't look for more money. Smaller budget, less spending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Martha, one would ask the question. The Constitution demands that there be public participation, and it is not a suggestion, it is not a request, it's mandatory.
It's a command.
It's a command that ought to happen. And even now, many out here are saying, if you talk to those who are pro-government, they would say, opposition is saying that they're reject the finance bill with no alternative. But here we also have Kenyans who have been speaking to them, telling them, when you increase taxes on mobile digital working, you're making it expensive for us to run business. You're making it difficult for us. When you start taxing mobile phones, for those of us who are in digital economy, it's difficult for us. So which taxes exactly are you collecting when majority of those who would get into that space, according to the promises you made, would not get into that space? So my question then is, public participation, especially around the finance bill, is it just there for the sake to be said we invited Kenyans, or are we seeing the actual practice of public participation?
Let us begin by saying that Kenyans are never invited. It's only a select. Actually, public participation has been corrupted to people manipulating it and calling only those they want, because they want people to say what they want to hear, to accept the finance bill. And we have seen people being roughed up for offering their opinions. It may not be this season, but previously we've seen it. So we are saying public participation has been abandoned. Meaningful public participation has been abandoned by our leaders, and that is the same way they have abandoned the Constitution in many things. Taxing the digital space is actually raiding a very an area that supports our unemployed youth, because they are able, content creators are able to find something to do. It's also our means of communication. It's also taxing also mobile money. It's taxing the unbanked, who now have found solace in the M-Pesa thing. And it's also taxing your mother when you send her some little money for unga. It's taxing a relative who receives a little money from abroad for medicines, for education. Remember that we always boast that our diaspora remittances give us more foreign exchange than everything else combined. We are now starting to hurt that, because anybody who sends a little money, it is going to make your relatives followed up. It's also punishing the diaspora who choose to invest in Kenya.
Yes.
Because we are following them with taxation. They've already paid taxes where they have earned that money. So instead of appreciating the support, we are actually hitting them with additional taxes. This is where public participation would have helped to bring different views. And there is money added. May I say this? This finance bill is the 2024 finance bill. It brings exactly the same punitive measures. But because they do not want to say they are taxing the people on the digital space, they'll put taxes that go back to the people on the digital space. If you tax the service providers, it's going to turn back to the person using that service. The same for M-Pesa. So the same measures rejected by the Gen Z, and which caused the death of so many, the injuries of so many, is the same thing. They are returning through the back door.
Okay. It's interesting because today, then, we see the report of certain things that, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call them defunded in this budget.
Yes.
Education is being defunded, and we're looking to the tune of 57 billion shillings. Health is being defunded to the tune of 12.7 billion shillings, and that is going to probably jeopardize the teachers who already, for whom this is already a pain point. But there are certain things that never seem to be touched when it comes to this spending, that budget that you're looking to fill. So I want to ask you, you served as an MP for Gishogo, you served as the Minister of Water, you served as the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Is it possible to use one vehicle for 10 years? Is it possible to just service the vehicle, fuel it, pay the driver, and maybe not need another one every 5 years? Is it possible? And I'm talking practically here.
It is possible. And I am using vehicles that are more than 10 years. And they're fine. And in the ministry, I remember when I entered Ministry of Water as minister, I found an old vehicle. The Moi government was not able to buy vehicles every other day. Remember, there was they were not getting support, donor support, and the budget was low. They were not buying vehicles. Ministers were still moving. So it is not necessary that every year people are buying vehicles. Every so often you're buying vehicles, and it may be a vehicle. For a minister, the vehicle shouldn't have traveled a lot, because your duties are in Nairobi. But these days, we have introduced something called traveling. Every senior government official is traveling like it's the end of the world, locally and abroad. And wherever President Ruto is on a local journey, you will find not just the minister, you will find hundreds of vehicles. So wasteful spending.
So President Kibaki didn't travel a lot. This
He
we
traveled,
know.
but we all didn't.
So
we
my
did
question
not always
was,
go.
did you all, because there would be a CS, maybe 3 or 4, 5 that would accompany President Ruto. President Kibaki traveled, but did you all accompany him? You being in specific positions?
He traveled very little. As Minister for Water, I remember going with him to Garissa and Wajir. That was one trip. I remember going with him to Kambani. I didn't go with him anywhere else. But I myself went various places. You see, and very light entourage. You actually have no entourage, it's just your officers. You see, and even him when he was going, we never followed him everywhere. People are in their offices working. That's where he expected you to be. We went where we were needed. Now it's a competition of who is seen. And it's not just the politicians. It's also, and it's not just the senior officers, it's almost everyone.
You know why I insist on this, Martha? Because I'm coming back to this explainer that has been placed by the National Assembly. And the preamble to all of this is, and I'm going to read it again, that the national government introduces a finance bill to amend tax laws in order to raise revenue for funding national development and public services. The funds collected through taxation are used to finance roads, healthcare, education, water projects, electricity, security, salaries for public servants, and repayment of public debt. Now, if the money collected is supposed to do these things and it's not being done, where do you see the problem being? Because if we are defunding education, healthcare, 2 of the major things that have been mentioned here, it seems to be a bit of a problem.
So they lie to us. The way the explainer is the way it should be.
Yes.
But they're not funding it that way. They are flipping it, starting with non-priority and ignoring the priority spending. When you defund, you actually have not raised money for that purpose because you're defunding. You are even getting money from health by defunding it. You're getting money from education as though it was not a priority item by defunding it. You are raising the funding for State House, for many other unnecessary things. And if you look there, you'll see that the MP's the luxurious spending, including travel, is not touched. You will see travel budgets for the counties. You will see those things are not touched. You will see the tea and mandasi has not been scrapped, you know, hospitality. Because we can do without hospitalities. We can defund and leave a very, very small component for that essential cup of tea for that visitor you cannot avoid serving. But for yourselves, you tighten the belt just like everybody else.
You know, Martha, I look at the legitimacy of the finance bill because the order for public participation to occur should be seen, should be felt, meaningful public participation. Where that then does not happen, where is the legitimacy of this document you call finance bill if it did not adhere to the tenets of the constitution to start with?
My favorite description of this government is illegitimate government because even the legitimacy they would get by doing things that resonate with the people, they destroy it themselves. So when a government does not listen to the people, to public opinion, because public participation is not just that hall where they call people. It's when people speak out and you hear, even through the media. It's when you hear that the public sentiment all around the country, like the Gen Z protest was like a public participation. On current affairs. You know, so when people come out, the Nanyuki demonstrations was public participation on the Ebola facility. Or the people who have called out the government, that is public participation. It need not be formal in a hall. But the government is tone deaf.
Therefore, today, as we talk about that and that act as is and the legitimacy that you talk about, what Ndu has just described on the explainer is what should be.
That's what
must
should be. And they know it. That's why they give us that.
Yes.
You see? Because they cannot say, we are mobilizing money to tax our luxury. So they're hiding behind what is stated in the Constitution. But when it comes to applying the money, they flip it.
That means they know exactly what should be done, but they choose intentionally not to do it because they are protecting the illegitimacy that does exist.
Indeed. Where you use the law wrongly. Because the people are saying, don't do this to us. Then you bring out the law enforcement agencies, and they'll even go beyond what the law allows them to do. They will kill. They will harm. So you know that what you're doing is wrong, but you're telling other people follow the law. Those who are following the law are the ones you hurt. You don't follow the law, you go with impunity. But to hide your impunity, you do the explainer. And this is not just on the case of the explainer. If you hear statements when they are saying that they don't want people out to demonstrate, and it is a right, they'll be telling you you are breaking the law. When it is them who are breaking the law. So it's a government that flips everything upside down.
So one of the big issues that nobody can run away from at the moment is that Kenya has an expenditure problem, not a revenue problem. You can find the money. There's an expenditure problem here, and economists across board have established this. The other problem is that Kenya has a huge public debt issue that on 100 shillings, 70 shillings today, I mean, that has fluctuated.
And we continue adding to it.
It goes to debt, which unless it's deemed odious, it's got to be paid. So if it were you, what would you do? Because again, that call comes and says, well, everybody's castigating and saying this is wrong. But if you were given an opportunity, how would this look different?
I'll say what I still said in 2022 during the debate. And I actually agree with what you have said. I said our problem is expenditure, not revenue. We are raising revenue, but we are misapplying. So one, I would cut all wasteful spending. I would prioritize basic needs of the people. I would fight corruption and impunity so that anybody who misapplies or corruptly takes away public funding or steals, you make sure that the wheels of justice are moving, systems are working, so that they are processed real time. Today, why there is impunity and people do what they do is that there are no consequences. It's the utadu culture. So I would also stop reckless borrowing. I would audit the debts. And you pay what is legitimate, and you can also renegotiate on the mode of payment. You cannot avoid debts that were legitimately taken, but you can put on hold the ones that have a question, and you initiate international litigation on that. So it is possible, and I like reminding people, when Kibaki came in, there wasn't much money. The budget was very small. Because no government puts money, you never find money in a granary or in the consolidated fund, which you come and spend. Revenue is raised and spent as it is raised. So the question is just sitting down to prioritize, to agree these are the priorities, this is how we do them. And even on priorities, our people, we become a thieving nation where we steal from ourselves. So the people we have entrusted in applying that money, even for priority spending like health, like education, there will be lots of stations where people are rent-seeking, where people are actually going to work to find out how they can turn that money, not for public benefit, but for private benefit. So you make sure that it's applied efficiently and effectively in a manner that it will touch people, so that we are not buying items for 10 times what they cost in the market. You must let everybody know that they have to use common sense. The same common sense they use spending their own money, they must use on spending public money. I used to tell my people when I was in Ministry of Water that saving public funds is not an offense, because people behave like it's an offense to save a single cent for the public. So apply it the way you would yours, you know? And if you don't, we are coming back. I would tell them, I will not come when you're procuring. But when you're done, I'm going to audit. Yeah. Because the law doesn't allow you to interfere. It is their work. You let them do their work. But let them know these are the agreed lines as you go about your business. Do the best you can. Apply public money properly according to the law, and you leave them. Then after that, you audit. And that helped. You see, people applied common sense and little budget. My beginning budget was so small, but we were able to allocate money to every county, you know? And in future budgets now, when I was there, I would be able to look at the budget and tell them where to reorganize. Because you find monitoring and evaluation. If you total, it will be huge, and it's money that can be spent on the same whatever. That's like travel, you know, travel by your officers going to monitor and evaluate. You also slash that.
Indeed.
You also check the way they do things. Like I had found that when they are going to the field to whatever boreholes, to sink boreholes, they are leaving things they need in the office. So going and camping out there, and 3 weeks they spend coming back and forth. You just tell them, do a checklist. Leave here when you're ready. And if you leave when you're not ready, somebody will have to answer why we are wasting public money. Just simple conversations that unlock things. And you find that even with little funds, actually I would not try to make a bigger budget, but before you apply the common sense of using the money efficiently and effectively.
You know, Martha, you've just given us an idea that it can be done. It is not rocket science.
It has been done.
It has been done.
And it can be done.
It can be done.
Yes.
And here, even when you talk about finances, when we borrow debt, and according to the PFM Act, you know why you borrow. It's well stipulated under the law.
It's for development.
It's for development. You know, but here we are continuously borrowing, but even when you want to place what that money has done, we can't see. Even the contracts that we get into is not public. The debt register today, Kenyans do not know what they owe. We do not know what we owe. So one asks the question then, seemingly we are borrowing to waste the money, not to apply it where?
We are borrowing in contravention of the law. Because if you know the money is not for development, why borrow? And we also have borrowed money that has never come to the consolidated fund. We need to trace where it went and why the law has been violated knowingly. So all those things. We are a country, we are now in the jungle, the rule of the jungle, because the rule of law ceased to apply. It's the rule of the jungle. What those who feel they have power want to do becomes the law. You can see Ruto, Dr. Ruto, allowing the US to bring Ebola patients. It's a policy issue. You have not consulted anyone. You know? I do not think even a cabinet approval existed. And after cabinet, by the magnitude of that matter, it should have been debated in the National Assembly, and we should know. He is treating the country as his farm in Sugoi, where he makes all the decisions, where he doesn't have to consult. But a good person may even consult his family, if it's something so momentous. So Americans are saying Ebola is too dangerous for them. Kenyans have also said it's too dangerous. And some of the elected leaders in America are saying, don't abandon our people when they're sick. Bring them here. We have the facilities. They're also telling their president, that is Trump, stop taking the Ebola patients to Kenya when civil society, when Kenyans are protesting about it. So you can see two leaders joined by impunity. Okay? And you can see the American administration aiding and abetting Ruto to violate the Constitution of Kenya and the will of the people.
And to maybe in some cases undermine sovereignty.
Undermine our sovereignty, because we are now like a quarantine ward for America. Yeah.
Okay, one of the things that you mentioned, which is a pain point, and I think every president has talked about fighting corruption and talked about dealing with impunity. Also coming from a National Assembly point of view, the Auditor General, and you said you go ahead and spend, the audit will come and be done. The Auditor General does this painstaking work of going through the numbers. And oftentimes, her reports will come out, I mean, even from the times of Eddie Okoh, would come out and say, look, we have this hole here. We have a problem. This year, the Auditor General has been maybe more overt and has actually said the ball is in the court of Parliament to insist on investigations, because the kinds of gaps that we are seeing are too much, and it goes directly with what you do with your budget. This thing that we are doing now, finance bill turning into an act essentially, and then the money that you use and then we find holes in it later. She said, investigate, prosecute. It's in the ball of the court of Parliament. Why is it so difficult to fight corruption in Kenya if it is probably the number one thing that's going to see the needle moving?
Parliament may do its work, although I doubt that the current one is doing its work of calling out and recommending. But the action of prosecuting is the government's. What Parliament can do is, if their recommendations are not followed, punish the government by withholding funds, you know, cause a constitutional crisis. Then they'll be able to act. But the ball is also squarely on the Ruto administration's court. If an officer in Ministry X has been flagged by the Auditor General for over expenditure, you're going to go into that ministry, first suspend those officers. You see? If you take action on the actual officers who are flouting the law, those who are left behind will be fearful because they know there are consequences. But now it's nothing happens, not even a surcharge, not even suspension or a reprimand at work.
Sure.
It looks like those officers are acting on the orders of politicians and therefore are protected. So you find the executive, which is running the country, are the ones responsible for the holes you see, and they are working in cahoots.
And even if these things do go to court, because there is a story today whereby folks have been fined 198 million shillings or 75 years in jail in Kilifi County for supplying air to the amount of 51.6 million shillings. But this is 10 years ago.
Have they returned the money? That's the question.
That's what I was going to go to, because now Anti-Corruption Commission will also offer you the option of a plea bargain, where you can simply say, well, we can give some of the money back. So what do people do? They make sure that they have taken enough so that what they give back is sorted out. They've not given the money back, but it's gone through court, and it's either they do 75 years in jail or they give back, or they pay 198 million. But the point is,
how much had they stolen?
51.6 million.
Yeah, you see now, if it's 10 years later, the same money is what you will pay. So this option of fine for people who have caused, misery, sometimes causing death, because when money connected with health, money connected with services that support life, money that has made it impossible for people to put food on their plates, you've actually caused suffering, maybe even death, and you're being fined a paltry sum, like you're being patted on the back. What I think is that even the courts have let us down in some areas. And we have seen governors, at least about now 3 governors who have been found guilty. They are able to come out on bail, and then the matter goes, and you don't hear of it again. We have seen the recent Obando case. So what I'm saying, the plea bargain is something that is lawful. But the way the EACC applies it is opaque. Give us a criteria for your plea bargain. Let us know how much when you announce, show us how much was lost, how much we are getting, you know? And show us that in that county, even according to the reports, there isn't much more. Do a lifestyle audit of the person.
Of that person.
You see? So that you are not leaving them so much, you know, with so much wealth that they can say, wow, that was a small price to pay.
Allow me to hold on to that just a little bit, Martha, because then we're going to look at things like legality and legislation, which again falls squarely in Parliament. And so then you have to ask about the capacity for Parliament as it's currently constituted to perhaps make a law whereby you say the way we deal with things under the certificate of urgency in the courts, when it comes to matters of corruption or suspected corruption, can we deal with these things urgently? Because one of the things that the chairperson of the PAC at the Senate said is that he said, come on, sometimes we're dealing with books from, you know, years back. This is a case that has finally come to its conclusion 10 years later. And in between that, the Auditor General has pronounced himself and herself several times about losses. So how do you ever keep up? You'll be doing this thing in perpetuity.
It is deliberate on the various administrations because there's something that can be done. The government, the executive cannot run the judiciary. But you can sit together and say, this is where our problem is. So that the head of the judiciary minds the judiciary and causes the wheels of justice to run. The executive applies the measures that will help stop the leakages. Because you cannot just allow the problem to continue increasing so that you overload the judiciary. So everybody should do their work. The legislature does their work. But the legislature itself is guilty of irresponsible spending, of using too much money on non-priority. You know, the travel. Local and international travel, especially international. And it's now become fashionable. Even the county assemblies, everybody is traveling. If you put the travel budget of the country together and you look at what we are defunding in education and health, it's shameful. We should be defunding travel. It is absolutely not necessary. Sit on your desk and do the work. You are not employed in the aviation industry to be on air every day, you know? It should be very, very sparingly. But because, why do they do it? Because it confers a benefit. You get lavish per diems, and every trip means money for you. So you'd rather leave the house empty without people to fight even this painful budget because everybody has traveled. We need a conversation with ourselves, and we need to stop this. And the buck stops with the Ruto administration for now, and with the three heads of the arms of government. The executive, that's Ruto. The National Assembly, that is Wetangula and Kingi. And the judiciary, which is the CJ Martha Koome.
And Martha, what we've just mentioned is all these agencies or the different parts of government must work together for a common cause, which is to serve Mwananchi better. Today we're talking about budgeting. The president's office is talking about 17 billion shillings in his office. And
higher than the US budget or Trump's office.
Exactly. And no one is asking the question, explain to us what these 17 billion shillings will do for us to approve it to come to your office, which is the work of Parliament. Because Parliament should stand in the middle to say, we are protecting these funds that are going to Kenyans, that Kenyans are giving to you. But no one is asking the question.
They will not ask, because they themselves, their budget is higher than that of the judiciary.
And you see, again, we come to a body that is, we talk about National Assembly as the makers of the law who are breaking the law, and one is asking the question because the courts have once pronounced themselves on CDF, but they're still implementing that against the law. So when you just sit and look at benefit for Mwananchi from all these bodies, Mwananchi is asking themselves, what will it take for everybody to just obey the law?
A total overhaul of leadership We need value-based leaders, and the people need to elect leaders of integrity. And we need leaders who will give commitment that these are the changes or the transformations they'll bring about. We need to agree that at this time of devolution, funds that are going to the counties, and CDF is one such devolved funds, you can even let it remain under the head of CDF, but it will still be applied by the county government, you see, so that Parliament can truly become a watchdog, so that Senate is a watchdog. Senate has no funding. They now want funds like CDF. Instead of saying CDF should go, they want to join the gravity train. The MCAs want the gravity train.
Yeah.
The MCAs, you can have ward funds allocated by the county, but applied by the same county. So that the work of the MCAs is to rally their constituents, to prioritize what they want done, and then the work of the county executive is to apply that man. When you separate, then the watchdog will truly play the watchdog role. And I want to say here and now that even when I was a member of Parliament, when CDF started, I actually was opposing it. I was of the view that that's mixing the role. And you now make a watchdog less effective because they too have skeletons. That is what has happened. Yeah.
Do you think a finance bill is necessary? And I ask this because if, or is it inconsequential? Because if what it's supposed to be used for is actually being done, would we have these pain points that we see? It wouldn't matter if you were going to amend a finance bill or amend a finance act in the next year, if you were sure that the things that you said they were going to be used for are actually being done. I mean, we give examples all the time of Scandinavian countries who are taxed about 50% of their income, but they're not going to have to spend another cent on some of these things that we talk about,
on health, on
education, right?
All those things.
So would it matter if the finance bill was there or not, if the purpose of it was actually being fulfilled?
The finance bill is necessary because it's a means of the government letting the people know how it is mobilizing money, that's ways and means, and the expenditure part of it. How are we going to apply it? So that's part of the open and transparent way of dealing with things. And it enables the public to participate. It also enables Parliament to authorize, because by electing an administration, you don't give them a blank check. You keep a tab on how they are spending every year. So a finance bill is necessary. What we do not need, and we must uproot completely with the roots, is impunity. We must follow the laws, not violate them. We must apply the money. When you seek to run a country called Kenya, know that the manual for running Kenya is the Constitution of Kenya. And be ready to follow the manual without violating it in any corner. So the finance bill is necessary, but let us observe the rule of law.
Whilst finance bill is necessary, one asks the question, how does the finance bill then help achieve Kenya's vision? Where am I going with this? If you take a country like China, their vision is so clear on where they want to go. They have a vision that will span the next 25 years. So even if a finance bill or how they will fund that is coming out every year, it is clear on where they want to go. Kenya today, we had Vision 2030. Does it even exist today? Is it being implemented?
The message to Kenyans is simple. The problem is not the finance bill, because we will always have a finance bill. It's the leaders that you choose knowingly. You choose leaders, we choose leaders who have no integrity knowingly. You see, we wish it away. And we even excuse leaders and say they have changed. Do not elect leaders you're not sure of. We need a leadership that can be trusted. A leadership that will follow the law. A leadership that will respect the people who put them in power. When you ignore the people's wishes, you are showing them contempt. It's a contempt card. That's what Ruto is showing us when he says Ebola must come. When his government spend the money the way they are not supposed to, it's a contempt card. When Parliament passes a budget that is oppressing the people, and we are crying as the people. It's a contempt card. So to Kenyans, to fellow Kenyans, why do we elect people who despise us, who disrespect us, who do not even see our humanity? Because if they recognize our humanity, the administration would not send law enforcement agencies to kill. That every time is tear gas, it's injuries, it's death. We are not hearing any uproar in Parliament about the number of deaths in police stations alone. The number of random deaths through abuse of guns in the streets, even when there is no demonstration. So these are people who do not even recognize our humanity. So can we be careful? Because the season is coming along again. Is it money? Or are you going to go for values, for people who feel for you, for people who will act in your best interest? That is the question. And for you to know who we are, it's not what we are telling you today. You want to look at the journey of a person as a leader. Because what we need right now, the Kenya's disease is leadership that is unworthy, that is not trustworthy. To know leaders, you must look at their journey. If we are fighting corruption and impunity so that our resources may be used for the benefit of the people, ask yourself, that leader, you give that MCA seat all the way up to the presidency, are they leaders of integrity? Are they people who have been involved in corruption before? Because if they have been involved in corruption, they are unlikely to fight corruption. What have they done with their position when they were in power? Do they respect the judicial process, the due process? Or do they take shortcuts? You know, you've got to look at all those things. And for people in Parliament, even those now in the opposition or the one-term movement, we want to know you through this current finance bill. We want to see how many will stand in Parliament and talk about it in a way that resonates with the people. And I'll say hats off to Didi Nyoro. I had him in Parliament, and I actually texted him to congratulate him. When you are a member of Parliament, the ordinary person, those of us who are not in Parliament, cannot utilize that space to talk. Don't just talk about the finance bill in a funeral, in a media house like this one, and ignore talking about it in Parliament if you're a member of Parliament. You can talk about it additionally outside of Parliament, but let us hear you in Parliament. You are elected to go to that space called Parliament. You are elected to go to that space called County Assembly. If you don't talk there, you should not be re-elected. You should not be elected if you're not capable of articulating people's needs, because nobody else can come to that space except those who are elected.
Our time is running out, but Martha, we've got to ask you this, that even as you speak about the opposition and whether it's united or not, that there's several people who want to be president. Are you still one of them?
Yes. In fact, the menu should keep getting richer, because it's not only those of us in the united opposition who have voiced wanting to be president. There are others outside of it. There are the likes of Managa, Okoh Mtata, Ruben Kigame, and there are many others who will come. Let the menu be rich. Even in the united opposition, I don't believe that we will retreat to a boardroom and come out with a candidate. We must refer to who among us Kenyans would trust most. So there must be repeat polls that will guide. So Kenyans, over to you. Interrogate everybody, including myself, those who want to be president, and give Kenya what it deserves. And interrogate those who are currently occupying positions. Don't trust their words. People say one thing, and please, even if you get money, do not go with money. Go with your gut feeling. Yesterday I was in the village burying my father's brother. In local language, we call them Baba Mudogo. So a youth came to me, to my car as I was leaving, and told me that he is PLP and if I could do something. I told him, if we talk about money, then you better return the incumbents. Just go for Kasongo because he's the one giving money. That youth told me, if that is how it translates, let the money stay. I want out of this government. Yeah. So we really must tell each other that it cannot be about money.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about what people stand for. Yeah.
She's a presidential aspirant as well as the leader of the PLP party, Martha Karua. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Asante.
The conversations must continue.
Asante sana. And thanks for having me. Yeah.
Good morning, 8 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. President William Ruto is expected to begin his state visit to South Africa from today until Friday at the invitation of President Cyril Ramaphosa. According to a statement issued by the South African presidency, the visit aims to strengthen diplomatic relations and economic cooperation between Kenya and South Africa. President Ruto will be officially received at the Union Buildings in Shawane tomorrow before holding bilateral talks with his host, President Ramaphosa. The talks are expected to focus on various issues including trade, investment, regional cooperation, peace and security, as well as the development agenda of the African continent. The two leaders are also expected to witness the signing of various agreements that will aim to strengthen cooperation between the two countries. In addition, a Kenya-South African business forum will be held in Johannesburg, which will bring together government officials and private sector stakeholders from the two countries with the aim of promoting trade and investment. 9 suspects linked to the fire at the Utumishi Girls Academy in Gilgil, which killed 16 students, will know their fate today, whether the court will actually release them on bail or not. The suspects were produced before the Chief Magistrate of Naivasha, Abdul Kadir Ramadan, where the prosecution sought permission to continue their detention for another 30 days in order to complete investigations.
The respondent in their own best interest, in the interest of the victims, and in the interest of these investigations, there has to be a pretrial detention.
Every action that is taken within these periods that the court might grant be also made known to the victims.
After hearing their petitions from both sides, the court adjourned its decision until this afternoon. Detectives from the DCI believe that other people may have been involved in planning and executing the incident, especially given the allegations that paraffin used to cause the fire was obtained with the help of someone from outside the school. The National Assembly has passed the Health Services Quality and Patient Safety Bill of 2025, a move that is being hailed as a major reform in the country's health sector. The bill, which was passed along with various amendments to the law, aims to ensure quality health services through specific quality standards, accreditation systems for health institutions and protection of patients' rights. MPs say the law aims to align Kenya's health system with international standards as well as address long-standing challenges related to service delivery, management and patient safety. According to the bill, patients will have the right to access safe and quality services, prompt and effective treatment, be served in safe health facilities, and be treated by highly experienced health workers. The bill also proposes the establishment of a special authority to be the main regulator of health facilities in matters relating to quality of health services. The World Meteorological Organization has warned that El Nino conditions are likely to develop in the coming months, raising the risk of disruptive weather patterns worldwide and adding further pressure to an already warming planet. In its latest El Nino update, the UN Weather Agency said there is an 80% probability that El Nino will emerge between June and August this year. It added that the phenomena is likely to persist with more than a 90% chance it will continue through at least November. According to WMO, most forecasting models indicate the event will be at least of moderate strength, with some suggesting it could become strong, underlining growing scientific confidence in its development. And finally, Uganda has confirmed 6 new cases of Ebola virus disease, bringing the total confirmed infections in the current outbreak to 15. According to health authorities, 12 patients are currently receiving treatment while 2 have been discharged. 1 person has died from the disease. The Ministry of Health said all new cases were identified among individuals who had been listed as contacts of previously confirmed patients. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante.
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption, because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of Wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion to service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, here we are getting into it now at a few minutes after 8 o'clock. 8 after 8, actually. And we're going to get into a conversation where we then go regional, we go continental, we go global, and still keep it local. We're going to do that in just a minute. But, Dennis,
yes,
there's a number that you've told me that I must send a message to.
Yes.
Let's start with that number, 0705 100 100. I send a WhatsApp message, or I give a WhatsApp call there.
Yes.
Or I send the word life and my town to 21778. What does this do for me?
So, what that does for you is you'll get somebody on the other side of the line who will be able to hold your hand and tell you how to invest and leave a beautiful legacy.
All right.
Because this life, I keep telling you, ambassador of
soft
life and good life,
good
right?
Life, yes.
So that must go beyond me, must go all the way to my children. You get because remember, it is not about if,
It's about when your time on the face of the earth ceases to exist. So what are you going to do with the time you have today to prepare for those who will be there post you? So unlike ordinary life insurance, this cover continues for life and offers coverage ranging from 5 million to 100 million shillings with additional benefits. Talk about a waiver of premiums in the event of retrenchment. So that is very critical, Ndu. You're here, you're hustling, right? You are getting your salary, you are doing gigs here, you're getting paid, right? And with that, then, if you are paying the premium and you lose your job, Britam is telling you, we will waive that for around 6 months so that ujipange, so that when you're back, you continue with that process to secure your legacy. Question is, what are you going to do with that time? Because remember, it is not about if, it is when.
It's about when. It's about when, for sure. All right, so keeping that in mind, let's do this conversation where we're going to go local, we'll go regional, we will go continental, we'll also go global, and all of these things are going to be localized in our conversation. And there's very few people who can then help with that kind of conversation in order to do that. And one of them is resident in this country. He also he's aspiring to be a member of parliament to kind of change things here and there. But in Langata, he'll tell us a little bit about that. We're doing Africa in Focus this hour. Pandemic, conflict, democracy, and the Pan-African dream. Ahmed Hashi is here with us this morning.
Yes.
Good morning. You're going to need the microphone.
You're going to need the mic. Mic is in Timbuktu.
I was like that in class too.
Oh, really?
Teachers used to have a very hard time with me.
Ahmed, sit down.
Then they would give me the exam and I'd still do really well.
You're one of those kids.
But, when I was young growing up, talking about young, there used to be a song on the radio at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. It was called, I think it's Juma Balo, so that our coast viewers, we can know that, the real Swahili that we speak in this country is spoken down on the coast. Not here in Garissa or in
Wajir.
Yeah, and also in Buhungu. So they used to have a song, it's Al-Kheri mpenzi waonaje hali yako. Sabah al-Kheri mpenzi hali yangu ni kama yako. I think it's Juma Balo. So every morning when we used to wake up, this radio would come out. And it would just brighten everybody's day. But nowadays we're listening to West African high life. What's it called? What's that music called?
What do you call it?
We can't even understand it. We like it at night, but not in the morning. These kids are playing it in the morning. So I'm glad to be here.
Karibu sana.
Oh, Karibu sana. And speaking of West Africa, that happens to be where Dennis has taken us this week.
Oh, wow. It's going to be complicated.
Okay, we go.
And I will start with the proverb. And then he will tell us what he knows about the country. So the proverb says, the strange does not know where the village elder was buried.
So what?
The stranger does not know where the village elder was buried. It comes from Ghana.
That's probably because he killed him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's another saying from Nagano, Nigeria, that, you shouldn't steal the drums of the village. Because if you go to the next drum and you start hitting the drums, it means they know where the stolen property is. So I think that the stranger doesn't know where because he's not, he doesn't know the people around there. He doesn't know the community, so he doesn't know where the elders are buried. So either it could have that realistic meaning, or it can have a euphemism. We say that the villagers can keep a secret.
Yeah.
One of those two things.
Yeah.
I like them both. I like them both.
Well said.
Yeah, indeed. So we're going to do a little bit of a snapshot around the continent and look at what's happening in different parts of the continent, because I think at the place that we are as the world is that the African world is that you're able to look here and there and see then what could form opinions then as we look into it. Okay. Let's start off and let's look into Ethiopia. The election crisis. What's going on in Ethiopia today, and the messages or the lessons that we could actually look into from your perspective?
So I think that's a brilliant question, Du. You know, sometimes I wish I could come here and talk about bright things, but I think that mostly I argue about standards, our standards, how our standards should be. Now, the Ethiopian election was not an election. It was an enigmatic election because the entire northern Ethiopia did not vote. The Tigray, you know, there's war there, in the Amhara state. And you know that the prime minister there, now he's the president.
Yes.
Because it's changed.
Yes. Yeah.
So he has assumed executive power. He's become more dictatorial. He's even abolished the pretense of the ceremonial prime minister. There was no election. He has this philosophy called Moderna. He's even written a book about it. So it's a collection of mumbo jumbo, a collection of feel-good, Presbyterian feel-good kind of book about trying to change Ethiopia, which is a job of the prophets. I mean, changing Ethiopia, it's not a joke. But, you know, it's human beings who live in Ethiopia. And those human beings' lives can be changed with the leadership that Africa deserves.
Yeah.
And in Ethiopia, there is now the label that it could be the Yugoslavia of Africa. And that there could be about 2 to 3 states that emerge out of Ethiopia if the conflict continues this way. Because, you know, they killed 2 million civilians and military personnel in the last war.
Yes.
It was simply because of the change of power. Nothing less, nothing more. And that has yet to be solved. The talks were taken to South Africa by President Uhuru then and Olusegun Obasanjo. Am I saying that right?
Nope.
Olusegun.
Olusegun.
It's a she.
Yes.
Because he's Yoruba.
Yes.
So Olusegun Obasanjo, who was president of Nigeria before I was born, I think. So the guy is very strong. He's still doing his job. You know, so we got a process there in which the TPLF, you know, TPLF was the former organization that ruled the country. And this Moderna prime minister, who is now president. So I am gloomy about South Ethiopia. I do not think that these, you can safely say, fake elections.
Why are you gloomy? Because we're looking at a country who's giving an example in terms of what development can actually do for the continent. We're talking about the establishment of the GERD in 2025. We're looking at them probably building possibly the fastest speed train system on the continent, rivaling those, you know, around the world. So in terms of the development agenda, Ethiopia is up there. Bola International Airport, rivaling.
There's no question.
Airtime,
there's no question that
but
some of the
can't get its governance right.
Let me tell you. In fact, he has built Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa has become one of the most beautiful cities in Africa.
It has.
It's very true what you're saying. But you see, it's hollow because there's no legitimacy in Ethiopia. We have 2 choices in Africa. Either you give us a dictatorship, you do away with the pretense of democratic government, and you give people education, basic health care, roads, subsistence payments to women with orphan children, things like this, you know, developmental things. That's one way, and I don't agree with that way. I believe that that Africans have the capacity to be democratic. This idea about saying that this is Africa is a deeply racist and offensive term because it tells us that we're children of a lesser God, that we cannot handle complex institutions of democratic government, which is a lie. Because at the very first beginning of the African independence, every leader in every country in Africa which was free from colonialism was elected. It is those same leaders who turned the clock back and said, oh, we have to rush because we are behind developmentally. We don't know what that means. Development, you know, just doesn't mean double carriage roads. It doesn't mean skyscrapers. It doesn't mean development means the human index. What is the human investment that we get as persons, as individuals and citizens in this country, or in the region, or in the continent?
Right.
Now, Ethiopia, which is the experiment, I believe that if the Ethiopian Democratic Federal experiment fails, it will be an absolute disaster for the whole of Africa, because it means that in multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-worldview societies in Africa that cannot live together in one country. Nigeria has the same problem. It has 100 ethnic groups. It has all these complicated problems, and it's trying to build a democracy, and it's been achieving some semblance of it because there is a removal of power every 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
So the experiments in Africa are ongoing. The problem is the problem of corruption in Nigeria. The problem of there's nearly zero corruption in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is very strict about stealing public money. That's how they could build the GERD.
Yes.
That's how they could build the super highways. That is how they could build Bole Airport, because the corruption is about 5 to 10%. It's not as crazy as Kenya, where we lose 2 billion shillings, according to the former president, and I think it's more than that.
It is.
So I think that there are experiments in democratic government, even here in Kenya and across the continent. I think that's a good thing. It's good news. The problem is whether we are going to have democratic countries through the Electoral Commission. This is one of the biggest problems we have in this continent. Stalin used to say, I'm quoting Stalin.
Can you imagine? Let's go.
Stalin used to say that, it's not the votes that count, it's who counts the votes. So we have to get over that. Lastly, Ndu, I put it to you that we are not in a vacuum in Africa. We live in the world, and there are 3 existential threats in the world today. The first one is nuclear weapons. The US and Iran and Israel are fighting over this. North Korea has intercontinental ballistic missiles. The other existential threat is AI, artificial intelligence, because all the drones that are falling in Ukraine, that are falling in the rest of the world, is a threat, because if we give AI the computer formula to make or not make war games, we could destroy this world. And lastly, I think we have one more existential threat that Africa lives in, and that is a disease. We have a president who has allowed a strain of Ebola to come into our country. It says that black lives don't matter. That's what it says. It says that we can have a strain of Ebola that's incurable. We can cross the borders, bring it to our country, and, it travels through wildlife, first of all, this Ebola thing.
It does.
And that Laikipia place is full of wildlife. It's macabre. I shouldn't laugh at it, because it's so serious that, you're so sad that you just laugh at it.
Right.
Now, I think that in any other country, the president would have been charged with treason, brought in front of the Senate, and charged with high crimes and misdemeanors and be impeached. But the country would go into a free fall.
There would be a crisis.
There would be a civil war.
Yeah.
Because other people would say it's not legitimate. So that is the existential crisis of governance that we have in our country. We have a new constitution. We don't want to follow the constitution. A court order has been given by a court of the Republic of Kenya, the High Court, and the plane still landed at Laikipia. The people of Laikipia demonstrated against this thing. That was not taken into consideration. 2 people have died, right? That tells you that President Ruto I remember him being interviewed by what's that Al Jazeera a woman from Sierra Leone, very smart journalist. She's called Thibo.
I know who you're talking about.
Thibo something. The lady who's on Al Jazeera. She asked him one day, "You're the deputy president, and you wanted to be president. How are you dealing with that issue?" Do you know what he said? He said, I deal with issue based on the circumstances that I get. That means there's a complete right-wing, neoconservative realist who just looks at the balance sheets and does not have any joie de vivre about the nation state that we have. For him to be pressed by the Americans to bring Ebola and then get a travel ban. You know, we just got a travel ban?
Yeah.
You're aware?
Yes.
This is the highest stage of neocolonialism. It's the highest stage. And I think that the people of Kenya should be astonishingly angry. And I think it is also a writ as to why we should not elect him as the next president and should be a one-term president, which is a term that I invented.
Now, Hashi, you look at the Ebola conversation, right, and the decisions made by William Ruto that he allowed US to set up here. Yet we have the constitution that says public participation ought to happen. And you talk about public participation. Kenyans have told you, no, we don't want it. Americans themselves in the parliament are saying, you should not set it up in Kenya. You should bring Americans here to treat them because we have facilities to treat them back at home. But one asks the question, what does America have over President William Ruto to a point that he chooses to disrespect the Constitution, the law he promised to protect and uphold? Is there?
What is the strength that they have over, say, the Gulf states or other countries? The United States is an empire. And you have two choices. You either take the sandwich or you take the gun. Henry Kissinger said that. That's the choice you have in American diplomacy. They either give you the sandwich or they shoot you. So most of the time people take the sandwich. You could see the president said that they've been helping us with healthcare for the last 40 years. That's because we've been stealing the healthcare money for the last 40 years. Yes, it's true. Stealing the hell out of that place. Every group that comes there takes their... You know, there's a famous story that every time someone joins government, they live in Nairobi West. When they get into government, they go to Runda
or Karen.
Or Karen. So there's theft that's going on. So they did not walk with us to help us with healthcare, as the president said. We were stealing the money. We accepted structural adjustment from the World Bank and the IMF. In fact, President Ruto himself is complaining about the IMF and the World Bank. So I'm not saying anything radical about that. So I think that what is the experience now in our continent? You see, I have this great admiration for the Sahel Union. And you know, in the other day, Benin elected a young president. Yeah. And you know, the first thing he did, he went to Niger.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yes. You know, that's the other virus that's coming. This virus that's coming of anti-imperialism and anti-neocolonialism in the continent. And it's taking a military form. I don't like that. I want it to take a civilian form. But because the pressures on these countries are so massive that at any moment, France can invade your country with Islamic terrorism. This Islamic terrorism nonsense. And then so you have to be a dictator. But the form that the dictatorship is taking in the Sahel Union is, yesterday, Captain Toure had 500 earth movers. He's building a double carriage highway. You've seen that, right?
In Bina, you never thought it would happen, but it is.
Who the hell is going to say anything about it?
In Burkina Faso, who would then be... And this is the question. The things that you never thought could happen
are
happening. But then, is there not a case that's being made here for the very thing that you say should be civilian? Everybody wouldn't. The people should then have a voice. But here we are seeing that somebody's not asking permission because they've asked permission for years. And what happened in Burkina Faso, for example?
Nothing.
Your sovereign fund goes to France.
Bad.
The corruption in the state, terrible.
Yes.
The people are not developing beyond, their nose.
Yes.
And somebody comes in a transition government, not even as the president.
In 2 years.
And in 2 years has turned the thing around, paid off your debt, gotten the sovereign fund back, sorted out industry, and then has put money in the hands of the elder folk, and is now building a railway. So it could be controversial, but is there not a case here for somebody who would take on a quote-unquote dictatorial position?
I'd rather have.
This nonsense has got to stop.
Under the circumstances of the Sahel Union and the French Republic, the coup was absolutely legitimate. Because 99.9% of the people welcomed it. The day they'll fail is when the people go back to the street and say, you're not doing the job we sent to you.
Yes.
That's a form of democratic pressure. And the people of the Sahel, if you go there and tell them you want to bring back civilian democracy, they will demonstrate against the civilian democratic system. Because they know the civilian democratic system is made up of theft. The Nigerian singer used to say, they're beasts of no nation. Fela Anala Kupe, right?
Nipol Lako Kuti. Don't worry, I'll take you for pronunciation classes later. For now,
I have to.
Okay.
So Kuti, said that. And these people who are ruling us, it's true, they're beasts of no nation. And I think that the general population is now under 25. They make up nearly 1 billion of the people of this country. I think it is critical. It is critical. And they're in the army. They're in the army. The next time there's a demonstration in Nairobi under the Gen Z, remember the army was sent in by this minister we had then, Mr. Duale?
Yes.
You remember him?
Yeah.
I thought he was part of a coup. Why would he release the troops coming to town? Because what are the military going to do? They're going to follow their classmates who are on the streets. The junior officers and all these soldiers are going to follow their families. They're the ones who are demonstrating. So, this kind of policy misjudgment on Ebola, on the finance bill, on our defense forces, on the missiles that were bought from Israel, and the corruption that you've seen, the buildings that are going up in Lavington, in Kilileshwa. When you buy something in Nairobi, you have to go to a lawyer.
Yeah.
Then you have to make a sale. And then you get a fake company. But everybody knows whose fake company that is. This is a very small town. You can't steal in this town and it doesn't show up. And there's a propensity for Africans to go to the highest hotels, with those people with very nice high heel shoes. You know who I'm talking about. And then have a lot of nyama choma and beer. And the whole dapo peseli tengenezwa. So it is the responsibility of not only me, you, and do, but of every person living in this republic and in the region to stand up for change. And my voice, I have lent it to that process, and I believe in constitutional change. I don't believe that we should go to State House and lynch the president. I don't think that's a good idea. But it happened in Bangladesh, which was a democratic country that elected people. And what happened? They refused to listen to the kids, and the kids went and threw them out and brought back another election. So I think that we ought to be very, very careful as 2027 comes to this country. Yeah.
As you say that, there's still other countries. I mean, Faye, who is the president of Senegal, had a little bit of a tiff with his prime minister.
Yes.
And said, okay, well, you're out. And then his prime minister comes round and then he's the leader of the majority in parliament.
No.
Suddenly. Does this speak about the leadership that we seem to not be able to get hands on when it comes to the power that is then given?
It's the fight between the empire and local resistance. Ousmane Sonko is perhaps the statesman of Africa today.
How so?
He's got the popular support of 99% of the Senegalese republic. He gave this guy the presidency because they had put some law of some kind. And when they went into government, they found out that there was $3-4 billion of debt that was hidden. It's not hidden. Macky Sall took the money. He took the money. Then he said the debt was hidden. Then the IMF came and said, where's the money? Then they told them the truth. They said the money was here, but we don't seem to have it.
It's gone.
Now it's gone. So Mr. Ousmane Sonko, who was the prime minister, said, no, we're not going to pay this. We're not.
It's odious.
How are we going to pay this money? You people gave this money to a bunch of thieves. And you want us to pay, and you want structural adjustment to come with it. And he was elected by the poor, the underprivileged, the Gen Zs of that country, staged a revolution. And this crisis is going to happen to every country in Africa. Ousmane Sonko said the other day, we have the capacity as Africans to have institutions to have disagreements and allow for the democratic process to go through. He's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
But that argument doesn't work for everywhere in Africa.
Why?
It doesn't work in the Sahel, because the Sahel, for an example, that place called Niger, it gives all the mineral that lights up the nuclear systems in France. And they sell it for hundreds of billions of dollars. So, if you pay the lip service to democracy in Niger, you get overthrown. Mm-hmm. The former president said, I will do everything that's right for Niger, but do you promise that I don't get overthrown by France? He said that.
Yeah.
You can Google that. Mm. And guess who overthrew him? His own people overthrew him for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So that crisis is here in Kenya. Mm. We in Kenya are conservative. We will never allow the military to take over this country. Mm. Never. I'd rather break my leg running over this constitution, going through elections, fighting corruption, than to allow the military to come. Because if we get the military to come in, they will never leave power, and this country will be in deep trouble. Mm. Because we don't have this sense about the military like in West Africa. In West Africa, a lot of the population believes that the military is the best form of government in that country. Mm. The problem is the military becomes very conservative and starts killing people, goes into ethnic bloodletting, and that makes the whole experiment wrong. So at the end of the day, I think that Senegal is showing us how we can deal with the democratic process, and the ideological divide between the president and the prime minister is because of the pressure of the international monetary system. And the international monetary system, even our own conservative president, disagrees with.
Yeah.
And the crisis is organic. There is nothing we can do about it. It is part of there's a school called the Anale School, which talks about something called the longue durée in political economy. That crisis now is here. It's in Kenya, it's in Tanzania, in Uganda it's being, suppressed. In South Africa it's showing up as xenophobia. Mm-hmm. It's showing up as xenophobia because the politicians in South Africa don't have an explanation for jobs for the people. Mm-hmm. So they say, it's the Nigerians who are taking your jobs. Mm-hmm. Or it's the Ghanaians who are taking your jobs. It's the people who come from Somalia, Ghana, and Nigeria make less than 1% of the economy of South Africa, maybe even 0.5%.
Yeah.
Now, when the South African government doesn't know how to deal with issues of unemployment in the lumpen proletariat, you remember when you were in school?
Yes.
And we were all leftists, and we used to be taught these things about called lumpen proletariat.
Yes.
That's exactly what is going on there. They have no idea about how to give
jobs.
Yeah, the lumpen proletariat is called the hoi polloi.
Hoi polloi. But what happens when 300 Ghanaians then go back to Accra as they did last week, and then Nigerians in our bullish nature will now try to put up barricades in Johannesburg?
Yeah.
But then at some point it'll be very clear that it's not the foreigners who are taking jobs, because they will leave.
Yeah.
They leave, as they have done. They'll go somewhere else.
Just to remain jobless.
And will they remain jobless, or will these jobs now miraculously appear?
Yeah, it's a stupid thing. What's happening there? It's happening in the underclass. Underclass always reacts in conservative ways. Mm. Remember, there's this quip I like about Frantz Fanon, who told us what's going to happen. He says this, you remember what he said? He said that the native does not want his freedom. So during the time of colonialism, it's a Manichaean situation. So he looks at the big house, the big farm, and the pretty blonde woman that the settler is married to, and he says, I want that.
Mm. That's what I want.
That's what I want. So the political class was supposed to change that into a consciousness of nation, into a consciousness of citizenship, into a consciousness of the market, of building institutions of the economy and of constitutional government.
But it's impossible because they were never divorced from their desire to have the nice house with the picket fence and the blonde woman.
Well, that is the dreams of every native. Mm-hmm. It is the dreams of immigration. It is the dreams of humanity itself. Italians and the Europeans, when they left to go for the American dream, that was the dream that the Americans sold to them, that you can buy a nice picket white house. And, they all went and lived in New York, in Harlem, and in the Bronx. And their third generation happen to buy a house for $20,000-$30,000 US. So the question that we have today is whether the resources that we have and the economy that we have and the political economy of our history, does it allow for prosperity? Yes. We are rich. Nkrumah used to say, it is Africans who are poor, not Africa.
Yep. Hashi, when you look at the youngest continent, Africa today, and the young people, they are speaking. You come to Kenya and the Gen Zs show the leadership of the day, that it is not about what it is you guys are saying up there, it is about what it is we want as a people. Go to Tanzania and the demos as well spoke. Go to Uganda as well, you see the same. You go to Burkina Faso today and Stevie, don't ask who Stevie is, but Stevie would tell you.
We'll talk about that later.
Stevie would tell you that is our guy. Stevie would tell you that is our guy and we want him there because we are seeing the changes he is doing today. Go to Senegal as well. The young people are telling the leadership that it is the people who will decide. So do we have a leadership problem, a leadership vacuum in the continent by failure of listening to the people?
No, we have hundreds and millions of leaders in Africa. They're in the private sector, they're in the farms, they're in the house writing books, they're in TV programs, they're producers, they're presenters. We have leaders, and there are just so many of them. But they don't know what to do and how to do it, and they don't want to join this rotten system. But they will have to join this rotten system. They will have to confront the neoconservative, the African neoconservative, and their ideologies, and they will have to stand up for their countries. And they're going to come from the middle classes. The middle class is the most transformative group of people in any society. The reason that they are very transformative is because of that dream of the picket fence and the car and all this. And that is a very transformative power. It's very transformative. Human beings are creatures of comfort. That's their thing. But in all seriousness, there's a guy called René Descartes who said, "Cogito ergo sum." In the European society is based on this. I have another one, "Cogito ergo Africa." This is my other. I think because I'm an African. I see because I'm an African. I engage you because from the African perspective. 500 years ago, there was no Africa. There was me there with my camels. There was you over there doing your farming. There was her with the fishing and the market. When the white man came, then there was something for us to unite against. Africa comes from there. Look, these guys, they've come here to eat our fish and take our cola nuts. Why? Then they took our people and they sent them over to Cuba. Why did they do this? Because the system, the capital system that we have in the world started there. These ports of Liverpool, these ports of Brixton, these European cities, Amsterdam, they were built on the back of Africans. It's not rhetoric, it's true. It's true. And they keep apologizing for it. They keep apologizing for it. They keep saying, we made a mistake. The last apology, there's a 96-year-old Belgian who was in charge of murdering Patrice Emery Lumumba. They put him in a big tube full of sulfuric acid. They were so angry with Lumumba because he told their king to get lost. After killing 10 million Congolese. Then they put him in the sulfuric acid, and there was his tooth that was left, his tooth. They took the tooth to Belgium. Then the Belgian government cleverly accused the 96-year-old man who's about to die as the whole guy who finished Lumumba. This is the guy who killed him. So they took him to court, and the guy died 3 months later. They knew he was dying. The person who signed the death of Mr. Lumumba was the president of the United States, Eisenhower. You should look that up. He said, kill him. Because the DRC is the stomach of Africa. It will feed us. It has lithium. It has Ebola too, but it has everything. It has the good and the bad, but it is at the heart of our continent. And if the DRC stands up, the effects will be just tremendous because it's the richest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that the forests in the DRC, if they burn down, the United States will become a desert. The western United States, because the rainfall system that comes out of the Congo Basin goes and rains in the ocean and then rains in the United States in the western part. If there are no trees there, drought will hit the western United States and it will make them like a Sahara desert. Now, the reason why everybody is so interested in the DRC is because of lithium. It is because of manganese, because of all these rare minerals that are going to power AI. There is no AI without the DRC. If I can use a lexicon soup. There is no artificial intelligence AI without the DRC. So Africa is at the very heart of the current and future political economy. And when you see us getting Ebola, there's a plane. The United States Centers of Disease Control have many planes that can land in the DRC, put their citizens there and quarter them. Ebola, you have to have exchange fluid to get Ebola. You know that?
Yes.
It's not like the flu thing. Eh?
Yeah.
So it's containable. It's containable. So what I'm wondering is, what kind of health experiments are these people doing in Laikipia? Is this a virulent Ebola that may cause us a lot of problems? Do you remember when the corona came?
Yeah.
The government said that it was national security for us to bring Chinese nationals. There was no corona here then. If we had stopped the borders and cut off the planes, there would have been no corona. But we let in over 500 Chinese at the Kenyatta International Airport, and a cargo guy taped them. That's how we knew corona came to Kenya. Corona came to Kenya like that.
And you're not being conspiratorial.
There's no conspiracy about a group of Chinese people coming from Beijing, and I hear they were the children of the Central Committee of the Communist Party. There's always a little bit of smoke.
Of course.
But to be quite honest, corona traveled from China to Kenya through that plane. And Ebola traveled from where? The DRC?
Through that plane.
Through this plane that has come to Laikipia. And in another week, you'll start hearing cases of Ebola in Laikipia.
All of the things that you speak about today, because look at the trajectory that we've taken this morning. Ethiopia, we've not gone to Sudan yet. We might do that. We're coming there in a minute. Ethiopia, we've gone to Senegal. We've gone to Burkina Faso. We've gone to South Africa. We've come to DRC. And it's very clear that there is a lot on the continent that we could coalesce around. And I'm going to go back to my friend Gaddafi, who said, you know what? This is the thing that needs to unify us. It's about the people. It's about the wealth. It's about the expertise and the knowledge. I mean, for crying out loud, Africa had one of the most intricate trade systems on the planet, even before the colonialists came.
Absolutely.
So it's not for want of intelligence.
Yes, it's not.
Or practice.
No, it's not.
It's greed for resources.
Yes.
So what is difficult? What's difficult about us coming together around the things that we have? Why is it so tough?
I think tomorrow
we want to kick out Africans of South Africa. We want to butcher people in our own countries.
We have to take power. We have the progressives have to take power. Then they have to guide the states towards the ending of this. If I was president of Kenya, in the morning I would put down the borders of this country. First thing in the morning. And I would say, anybody, do you have a national ID from your country? That is your identification. You can come here, you can trade, you can move your goods, because we did that for hundreds of years, as you just said, do. Why should we not do it now? That's the first thing I would do. But the presidents of this region, the three presidents of this region, and the ones in the DRC and in Rwanda and Burundi are connected and economically dependent on the international political economic system. It's as simple as that. And unless they are militant politicians who are progressive in the vein of the presidents of the Sahel, nothing is going to change. Now, if anybody said that, we can't get away from these people, how is it that the Sahel states are getting away from it? Why is it that the people of Burkina Faso are doing incredible things? Why?
Why has Namibia paid off its national debt as of a month ago?
Why has Botswana refused the diamond deal with the bees?
Yes.
Why? It's because the expression of the militancy of the population is being recognized by even our politicians. Why has the president of Benin gone to Niger? Because he wants the program. They're saying, well, you people are doing something amazing. How are you doing it? Wallasan Ouattara is the appointment for the empire in
Côte
d'Ivoire. He's doing his very best to try and undermine the Sahel Union. The president of Nigeria, who can hardly walk, he's called Tuju.
It's called Bola Tinubu.
Bola, yeah, but that's him.
Yeah.
He's a geriatric who should be in a retirement home. He shouldn't be in power.
Fair enough.
There's that Igbo fellow who wants to change the country. What's his name?
Peter Obi.
Peter Obi. You see, this is the contest. It is not ethnic. It's ideological.
Yeah.
There's a difference between Mr. Sonko, Usman Sonko, and who? Faye, because Faye bent to the order. Sonko said, no, I bet you that Usman is going to become president of Senegal. I can guarantee you that. And you know what? The first thing he's going to do is going to land in Burkina Faso. He has already been there.
And say, let's talk.
He has already been there as prime minister. In Mali, what are they doing? They brought those terrorists.
Allegedly.
Those are French legionnaires. They're not terrorists. They are people who want to overthrow. Because these guys are in the Sahel Union.
Yeah. So, Hashi, seemingly there is power within the continent in saying no to neocolonialists.
Yeah.
Because then therein lies solutions for your own problems and the power that you do have by using your own resources to benefit your own people.
Yeah.
But looks like there are others who say, no, we will continue with the status quo because that is all we know.
I'll give you an example. The president built the governor of Wajir. Who's the best performing governor in northern Kenya. It is. Compared to the other ones, he's the best. There was a stadium built there. The Somali community is clapping for William Ruto. They're very enthusiastic because he's put his hand inside their stomach and pulled out the sensitive issue of inclusion. You know, the Kenya government discriminated against us because we had soft hair. You know, because in the desert,
you need to
can't
stop
have
it.
hair. Wait,
you can't have
this hair.
You'll die.
Yeah. Then you have to have long body because the perspiration. It's biological. It's got nothing. We are the oldest African hippoglobe. It's a genetics. You can check it. All these other people who went to Europe, they came from the Horn of Africa. Yes, Chinese. These Chinese, they're from West Africa. It's in the genetic. I read this genetic journals. Now they discriminate against us because they said they want to join Somalia. So I remember when I was at primary school, they used to call me shifter. You know what a shifter is? Shifter is those bandits over there.
Yeah.
So the Somali community was very, very upset about this labeling. In 1982, General Mahmoud Mohammed stopped a coup by Raila Odinga. And we became citizens because of General Mahmoud in this country. Ahmed Hashi, Raila Odinga, and many other people fought for the constitution and devolution. And northern Kenya became free because of and the rest of the country, our poverty is the same. It's just ours is a bit lower than yours. But we're all in poverty.
We're all poor.
So you can't say, I think these guys have developed. What development is there in Kenya, in Mount Kenya? There's nothing. Everybody is poor. You have seen it. There is no poor group in this country than those in Mount Kenya. You just because of this past colonialism. Then there's 100 billionaires. And the rest, they killed JM Karaoke because of that. So William Ruto scratched the stomach of our community with this Talanta Stadium. which has been named now by Governor Njeri as Ahmed Khalif, the great Ahmed Khalif from Wajer, Allah Yarhamah, one of the leaders of this country. And the Somali people in this country are very happy with him because you could hear the Somali songs and the Oromo songs in the stadium there. It's unheard of. We used to hear Mwana Ambere ni Shekhoiro, Mwana Ambere, and then we'd hear the Kikuyu one. We used to hear these songs growing up, and even now. But we never used to hear the Somali songs that are part and parcel that were being sang yesterday at Wajir. It meant that they are part of this place, and it's very difficult to try.
It was never the case before.
It was never the case. You can't tell them Ruto is calling you. They will fight with you.
So now
because they can see what he's doing, and it's positive. He's been spending the last night in Habaswein. No president in this country has gone to those small villages. The man is a brilliant politician. You have to give it to him. He is brilliant at manipulating the emotional symbols of communities. Right now, he's going to tell us the Kikuyus are there by themselves. They believe they're the only people who can rule Kenya. Oh, they're the ones who voted when you became president. Do you remember that? They voted for him and they made him president, right? How come these guys have become the bad guys now? How? He's going to play this specter of Kabila. Because every day the campaign he says, Huyo Jama. What's his name?
Which one exactly?
Which one?
The vice president,
the former Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes. You know, when he's speaking to Rigathi Gachagua, he's not speaking to Rigathi. You know that, right? He's speaking to who? The people of Mount Kenya. He's telling them, you guys be quiet. You've had your time. It's now time for the rest of Kenya to rule. Which means what? Him. If he gets a second term, you will hear something called 3-term. He's going to try and thwart the constitution. We're dealing with a very dangerous man. And if this country doesn't stand up to the values of our constitution, am I a Kikuyu? I'm not a Kikuyu. My entire constituency are in the government. I'm the only guy from my community who's opposed to the government. Because they are playing this game of we are Igbos, we are Yorubas, we are Fulani Hausa. This game that they are playing in Africa. These kids don't want this game. They want to go to the movies to see Spider-Man and eat popcorn after coming from work, which pays them a decent salary to buy a 2-bedroom apartment. These kids, that's what they want. They do not want this tribal nonsense. And everyone under 25 today says, nyumbani ni wapi? Anakwambia ni Kenya. My generation never knew that. Every kid under 25 are going out together. They're dating across the interracial lines. They're dating with the religious lines. They're crossing every red line in the country.
Yes.
And we're not ready for them. We're not ready. Because our mental makeup is in another place. And these kids are in another world. And trouble, my dear friends, is coming in a hurry, as they say, where she comes from.
So to do what? In a minute?
Well, I think that there will be a transformation in 2027 in this country, like no other. 2007 was a joke compared to, if we don't bring leadership to this country is headed into a lot of trouble. And we hope that the voice of the people is listened to exercise our democratic right, and our vote is counted. If William Ruto returns, then that's okay with me, because it is the will of the people. We must cast our ballot, and it must count, and it must be said the way it is casted. And therefore, the people will say, we won or we lost.
Yes.
You've ever heard of the saying? The people voted, but we don't know what they said? You've heard of that?
Yes.
What we want is a peaceful transfer of power, or a return of the Kenya Kwisha people if they win. And that is the basis of stability for our constitutional system of government. Do I put it to you? Yeah.
it can change because we've done what we've done is that it's gone around the continent, and we've seen that a lot of these scenarios are playing out and looking one like the other. But it seems that it's the will of the people that's the ingredient in all of this that is going to change things in one way or another.
There's a concept in Arabic language. It's called aradatul sha'b. It means kwa Kiswahili raia. You know, the Kiswahili has got a lot of Arabic words. It means the will of the people. We have to respect the will of the people. We cannot go and play hanky-panky with the vote because it causes civil strife.
Yeah.
Go to the people. Campaign. Bring your agenda. If you lose, you know, the president said the other day at the prayer meeting.
Prayer breakfast.
He said that, if I lose, I'll go home.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he meant.
Oh, come on. What else do you mean?
I think I know William Ruto. I know our president. I worked with him. There's the public one and there's the private one.
Okay.
And, you know, he learned these things from Moi. There was a Moi who stood in the church during the day with the Bible and at night was detaining people to go to jail. So I think that we have reached a level in the modern world today that the Vox Day, Vox Populi, Vox Day.
Vox Day. Okay. And we end it there. Ahmed Hashi, till the next time, Asante.
Asante.
It's a delight to be here. You know, actually, have you seen the comments on Africa issues that we do here? This show is watched in Malagash, in Benin, in Capo de Verde, in Tripoli. People are sending messages from places in Africa that one or two I haven't even heard of.
True.
Because this is a huge continent. It's shocking. And the sentiments are exactly the sentiments that we have. That's Africa coming together through this thing called the media. This is the most powerful institution in the world today. Thank you for inviting me here and be blessed about it.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good morning, 9 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital has established a 13-bed quarantine unit to manage potential Ebola cases, according to the hospital's disease control officer, Dr. Moses Opundi. The facility was set up after the Nyanza and Western regions were identified as being at risk due to their proximity to neighboring Uganda.
Yeah, so far what we have done is that we have three isolation rooms within the facility, first and foremost from the casualty and the ward. But remember, Ebola need to be contained because of the biosafety involved. So again, now we have an annex. So the annex has 6 rooms. So it has 6 closed rooms which can handle 6 patients, and also 4 general wards where you can also now, after doing contact tracing, you can isolate the patient. So that's a 13 to 14, that's a very good number for now, because we have never had Ebola case in Kenya.
Dr. Opundi outlined some of the symptoms associated with Ebola and urged residents to seek immediate medical attention if they experience any signs of the disease.
So again, Ebola is a virus, so it's called a viral hemorrhagic fever. So basically, just the same way we had COVID-19, the basic things, it's like a flu, a homa. So you'll have the fevers, the weakness, the tiredness. Now, the only special thing about viral hemorrhagic fevers is now the bleeding, where occasionally the orifice in the body, the nose, the mouth, passing urine and passing stool, now blood, you can now start passing blood at the end stage of the disease. But generally, the commonest things are just the normal fever, your high body temperatures.
The United States says it has alternative options for handling Americans exposed to Ebola if plans for a quarantine facility at the Laikipia Air Base in Kenya are blocked by the courts. Speaking at the White House briefing, U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Ahmed Oz said Washington remains optimistic that ongoing discussions with Kenya will resolve concerns over the proposed facility. However, he noted that other partners, including the UK and Germany, could provide alternatives if the project does not proceed. Oz defended the need for a facility near Ebola outbreak zones, particularly in the DRC, saying approximately or saying proximity would allow faster medical intervention for potentially exposed individuals. The proposed facility is part of a U.S. strategy to monitor and isolate Americans exposed to Ebola while ensuring rapid access to treatment if symptoms develop. The remarks come after the High Court temporarily halted the establishment of any Ebola-related facility under arrangements involving the U.S. or foreign governments. Some parents and residents of Kilifi County are calling on authorities to ensure those responsible for the fire at Tutumishi Girls Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County, are held accountable under the law. Led by Henry Mongolo, the residents urged the DCI to conduct thorough investigations and take appropriate legal action against the 7 students linked to the incident.
Hawa wasichana waliochoma ile shule kule Nairobi, they should be treated as terrorists. This case should be handled by anti-terrorism unit. It should not be handled by the DCI.
Hao waliofanya hiyo kitendo wanastahili wachukuliwe hatua kali sana, kwa sababu hiyo ni kitendo cha terrorist. Hiyo kuchoma shule kwa sababu waliharibu shule na pia kusababisha vifo vya wanafunzi wenzi wao. Anti-terrorism unit handle hiyo kesi, sio ihandoliwa na DCI, sababu hiyo ni kesi ingine kubwa sana.
Youth in Machewa Ward, Trans Nzoia County have been urged to use social media responsibly and harness digital platforms for economic empowerment rather than spreading insults or misinformation. Machewa Ward Representative Geoffrey Kisiangani encouraged young people to use social media for research, job opportunities, entrepreneurship, agriculture and trade to improve their livelihoods.
Na watoto wetu wenye mnamaliza muda kwa mitandao, mnatusi viongozi. Nataka kuwapea taarifa kwamba tetea maisha yako. Kazi zimetangazwa kule county, wale wanataka mambo ya udaktari, wewe apply kuliko kutusi kiongozi. Sasa wewe ukitoka hapo utakula nini? Na mimi huko natusi kiongozi, nimekalia kiti. Si wewe ndio naumia? Apply kazi. Na sisi tuende tuongee, watusaidie watu waendelee hapa. Ninavyosema hivi, tuko na vijana yetu karibu 8 waliajiriwa. Hapana sema tu ati sisi watu hawajaandikwa na huja apply. Ama wamesema wana apply mambo ya daktari, wewe uko na license ya udereva na unasema ungechaguliwa. Sasa unataka utuue na dawa. Wakuchukua endo wamalize watu na shindani.
That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Cometh the time, cometh the hour. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock and into the final hour of our conversations on the Situation Room. This morning, and no better time than for you to tell us that it is not about if, but when.
When.
All right.
And you see, here I want today to talk to you who's making that hustle and grinding every day.
Okay.
But then again, there are those summer bunnies who are outside the country but supporting their families back at home.
Why are they called summer bunnies?
Summer bunnies because, because they come here during summer to enjoy the weather.
Oh, because then the bunnies come out. Okay, never mind. Okay,
So let's talk about them. They're grinding, they're hustling, they're making the money. But now question is,
What exactly are you doing with that money? Because at the end of the day, you want to leave a legacy that will go beyond you and perhaps 2, 3, 4 generations to come. But for you to do that, you need to be able to be with a partner who has been in the game for a very long time.
Okay.
We're talking about Britam, who is coming with the Britam Whole Life Plan. And they've been in the business for 6 years, talk about 6 decades, definitely. They know exactly what it is they're talking about. So here we're talking about being able to receive immediate tax-free financial support at that time when you need that help. So you're talking about you've been saving, right? Over time, 15, 10, 20 years.
Yep.
And upon the time when that money is needed, you get it immediately, which is tax-free. And remember, we talked about at the time when you also have some difficulties, you got laid off from your job, you suffered critical illness. What do? They suspend that for you to be able kujipanga. Then when you come back, you continue with what? With paying your plan.
All right.
It's as easy as that. And you need to send an SMS. Where do you send it to?
21778, and you tell us where you are and send the word life.
Life, yes.
Life Nairobi to 21778.
Exactly. Or Life Kiambu 21778.
Yes.
But also you can talk to someone on the other side, or you can also send a WhatsApp because everybody's connected.
Right.
You send that to 0705 100 100. There will be someone on the other side of the line who will be able to take you through the process and explain to you why it is not about if, but when.
Indeed. And whilst there is someone on the other end of that line, there's somebody in the studio today as well, who will then be able to tell us what this person on the other end of the line will tell you as well.
Yes.
Dennis Moria is the General Manager, Business Development, Britam Life Assurance, and joins us in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
How are you? You join another Dennis, so I guess we're in good company. Karibu sana.
Yes. Thank you.
So, of course, we're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff because we don't like to talk about death. But still necessary for us to do because, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They say the one sure thing about life is death. Yeah. And through that, you can make it a little bit more comfortable, can't we? The other Dennis also takes us to a different African country every week. He comes back with their proverbs and chocolates. I get the chocolates. You get to interpret the proverb. Okay?
All right. And it so happens today, we are in a land that produces cocoa, but not chocolates. We are in Ghana. Beautiful country. And when you talk about Ghana, you remember Kwame Nkrumah and his vision for the continent, where they said, we are the first country in the continent to gain independence, but that will never make sense if that does not translate to the rest of the continent. And you look at where the continent is today, talk about African Union and working together. Perhaps that ideology is being recognized a day at a time. But let's go to the proverb. Now, the stranger does not know where the village elder was buried. The stranger does not know where the village elder was buried. What do you think Ghanaians are telling us today?
The stranger does not know where the village elder is buried.
Yes.
Well, my interpretation of that proverb, let me take it to the context of our conversation today. You, as a key member of your family and the provider of your family, you're the only one who knows what your family needs. You're the one who understands the family values that you want to impact on them, and you're the one who's got the vision and the plan for them. So only you, who belongs to that homestead, can plan for that eventuality.
Well done.
Okay.
Message home, eh?
Oh, we know why you work for them.
We now know why you're there.
Where you
60
are.
years now, but now we know why. Yes.
Okay, so then let's get into that conversation, shall we? Some of the things that sometimes we get uncomfortable talking about, but then it's part of life, right? So tell us, let's start from the beginning. When we talk about the whole life plan, what exactly are we getting into?
All right. Okay. Thank you. So the Britam Whole Life Plan, or whole life insurance in general, is life insurance protection for your family and your dependents. So I think that's one of the key differences of life insurance compared to, let's say, for example, if you're investing in a money market fund or something, where you're investing for yourself or retirement planning for yourself. Now, this one, you're making sure that your people, in the unfortunate event of you passing on maybe early on, at a younger age, you're able to provide for them. So what are the things we're talking about providing? We have daily living expenses. Rent must be paid, food must be bought, children must go to school, and also the little and things that people enjoy about life. Holidays must continue. So what you do is you buy a coverage amount. life cover. So let's say 5 million or to 100 million. And probably I could add, how do you determine how much, for lack of better, is my life worth? All right. So usually a rule of thumb is say, look at around 4 to 8 years of your annual salary is a good amount to think about how much you need to cover.
4 to 8 years.
Yes, depending on your ability to pay. Yeah. So think about that range. That's a good number to think about. So if that 4 to 8 years ends up to, let's say, like 20 million, then that's the good coverage amount you should buy, so that in case you pass on, then your family is paid out that 20 million, and they can be able to appropriately manage that money over the long term to make sure they have they have money for their daily living expenses. So whole life, one of the unique differences compared to other things we call like term life assurance is it does not expire. So pay for a certain period of time. You can pay one-off if you want. And then you can also pay for 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. Then you stop the payments. Then you're on cover for the rest of your life. That way, even if you live to 100, then your children or your grandchildren have money to help them take off from a certain point. You know, things these days are quite expensive. So even think about owning a home. So you can set up your children for that, for example, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, we live in a very interesting demography as Africans, yeah? So we're here, we're being told whole life plan is great for you because it is helping the generations to come. You've set them up for prosperity pretty much. You know, I hustled, I did the grind, but I'm here making sure that, you know, my future is secured, ecosete. But we also find a demography that doesn't want to talk about life insurance. They just don't want to pick it up because, like Ndu said, we don't want to talk about death. Why is that the case?
I think that's one of probably I would say there are many things that we have that within our society that impact why the life insurance uptake is low in Kenya. And that is part of our culture. We are afraid to talk about death and openly and plan for it, and because it's been a taboo. But I can see probably we're making strides in terms of thinking about how can we be able to have that conversation openly, especially when we see those who've gone, especially you've got very prominent families, and you can see how their children fight over their parents' property. So I think the question is, do you want our children to be friends and work together after we part, or do you want them to be enemies? So I think that's one of the things about maybe we need to inculcate maybe in our values today and say, how do I make sure that if I go or when I go, that my family is at peace and everyone is happy with what they get? Yes.
Okay, so let's take a couple steps back. So now, understanding what the whole life plan is, understanding why maybe people are worried talking about it, what do you do at Britam?
Myself as Dennis.
Oh, as Dennis and
as Dennis Moria.
As Dennis Moria.
Oh, okay, yeah, we got to clarify that.
As Dennis Moria. All right. Okay, a bit of an introduction. So, Dennis Moria. So, I am the general manager for business development. So, I oversee basically the sales and distribution revenue growth for Britam Life for the life insurance and pensions business. So, we've got many solutions across the board, even outside our life insurance business. So, within the life insurance business, we've got pensions and retirement savings. So, we can have a conversation about that. We also can have about education planning. Savings for other goals that you may think about, let's say buying a car, a house, or any other area of interest that you may have. And then, of course, we have life insurance here we're talking about today, whole life being one of the products, and we've got what do you call it, other term life products as well. Okay. But also you've got other financial solutions like money market funds,
right?
Insuring your vehicle, insure your home. If you do travel, we do offer also travel insurance as well. So any types of insurance that you can think of, we have them available. So even if you have a plane, we got you.
Yeah, Dennis has a plane. So when you imagine these different sectors that, you know, the insurance then is able to offer in Kenya, what's the uptake of insurance at the moment? And is it encouraging or discouraging?
Oh, the numbers, when you look at them at a global level, they're quite discouraging. Penetration overall, I think, is way less than 3% for both what you call property and life insurance. Combined
of the Kenyan population,
of the Kenyan percent of GDP.
Okay.
Yes. So the amount of money we spend on premium versus the annual income for the national for the entire country. Yes. So it is not encouraging, but we are far better than a few other countries. We are not the worst, but the other countries which are doing far much better, especially in Africa. Of course, South Africa usually is the leading country around there, but Kenya is not too far, but we still have a long way to go in terms of making sure that we do able to provide financial security for ourselves. Yes.
Why do you think that is? Sorry, Dennis. Apart from the whole life plan, if we don't want to talk about death, but why do you think it is that folks are not thinking about taking and putting away something for later?
So one, let me put it, 4 key things that I would say that are the major one is around affordability. So when it comes to prioritizing the wallet for the average Kenyan, of course, you've got food and now the popular topic of fuel and other things. Though affordability has been an issue, despite this year, even previous years, it's been an issue. So that's one of the main areas around that. The next one is around trust. So are you sure we will pay this money that we promised? Okay. I think that's a big thing that we do need to work on, either from also an awareness perspective and also from ourselves as an industry to provide that comfort. And we also able to demonstrate that we do pay. So usually it is best to be referred to an underwriter or provider who does make sure that they are paid. All right. The other one is let me call it general awareness about what are the benefits of life insurance and or any type of insurance. And I think we're very well informed about banking, what do you call about it, investments. Those ones, I think the Kenyan population is doing a good job, or we are ahead in that. But risk management, protecting what I have, is becomes a difficult conversation. But we do need to work on the awareness in that area. So I think in the long term, there's an opportunity to make sure that we do align all these different gaps that we do have. So making sure that there's good information, we address the trust issue, and also as an industry work on affordable, relatable products that the average Kenyan can buy. And that's why we are here today.
So let's talk about different types of insurance. To just lay the case, anybody today would talk about, I want health insurance because I fall sick quite often. Sickness is there, so I want that packaged. I'm driving a motor car or my bike, right? I can't be on the road because NTSA on my neck. I must have that insurance. But when it comes to life insurance and talking about then legacy, that is a gray area where many say, hey, what are you saying? What exactly are you saying? So for those of us who do not understand how critical it is in terms of legacy planning and the need to have life insurance, why is it important then to switch and start saying, as much as you have health insurance, which is great, and you have motor vehicle insurance, it's important for you to plan about your legacy and the future through the life plan?
No, and I do agree with you. And I would say it's bring the focus back to you and probably accepting, well, I am a mortal. And there are these people that I love and cherish very much. And these are the people who have been working to make sure that they have good health insurance. That the people why I bought that big car so they can be driven wherever they need to go.
Comprehensive cover.
Comprehensive cover. When they go to hospital, the best wing in the hospital. But if you're not there, your savings will take them for 3 months. What about after 3 months? There'll be a rambe for the funeral. After that, people will be gone. So yes, what will your spouse do? What will your children do? Maybe even their parents and other brothers and sisters who depend on you, what will they do? Yes. So it is important to make sure that you do have that life cover in place. And we also have other products which complement it, such that in case you're not too sure or you're not confident they're able to manage their money, we do have what we call trust services as well. So the money can be paid into a trust, and the trustees now pay for the daily living expenses. So your job is just that your beneficiary just comes and brings the school fees. Let's say you've got a brother, maybe you're sure he doesn't take care of money very well, but you want to enjoy it. So all they need to do is just be bringing an invoice for school fees, and they'll sort out your child. Bring the invoice for rent, and the trust will pay out for the rent. If it's about shopping, they'll give an allowance and say, fine, bring me receipts in your back. That way, you're sure that your child will be well taken care of. Then your child turns over, let's say 21, 25, depending on what you decide. They get the balance of the funds to go and manage and live their life.
How do you start the legacy planning conversation whereby a trust would come into part of that for the future? But where do you start from if you've never saved a dime in your life and you're realizing, okay, snap, something could happen later? How do you start the conversation? Where do you begin? What do you put away? 500 shillings? 5,000? What do you do?
Okay. Let me say, if I was to take the legacy planning discussion to a bigger picture, even beyond the whole life and the trust, I would say many families in Kenya are already in the process of building wealth. Okay? You either have got your plot somewhere, you have your savings or investment somewhere, you've got your vehicle. Okay? Those are assets which are of significant value. Okay? So you could start from the basics of, let me put down a list of everything that I do own and have a will prepared. Okay? Over and above that, you're very clear about what needs to be done. Okay? Then the question is what I have enough to take care of the family? Okay? Then I said they gave an estimate of how much you should be thinking of making sure you can protect them. 4 to 8 years of salary. Depends on your age. The older you are, then the fewer the years. The younger you are, the more you need to set aside. Yeah. So those details we can come and have a one-on-one discussion with Britam or any other provider and a financial advisor as well. Then you can start saving up. And even here at Britam, you can start saving with as low as for a whole life product for 3,000 shillings per month. Yes, to get a cover of 5 million shillings.
Over how long?
10 years. You pay for 10 years. So if you do 5 million times 120, that comes to approximately 600,000 or so.
Per
total payments.
You would pay a total of 600,000 and you would have a cover for 5 million.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do some. So you pay 3,000 shillings. This is just as an example. If you wanted to do something to get 5 million, Bob, you pay 3,000 shillings a month for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, 5 million shillings is given to whom if you're still alive?
No. Okay, you get 5 million shillings growing at 3%. It will come when you pass on.
When you die.
When you die. Not at the end of 10 years. You stop making the 5,000 shillings payment at the end of the 10 years. But now, you've planned for your family in the eventuality you're not around. But if you're still alive, you're still working, you're still making money, you can still provide for them.
So what happens to that money? It has to wait until you pass on?
Until you pass on.
Okay, so say that again, because I'm sure that flew over the head of a lot of people here.
All right.
You're paying 3,000 shillings per month.
For 10 years.
For 10 years. And what you are for a payout of 5 million shillings when you pass on.
Yes.
And so, because this is what is growing at 3%.
Yes.
So, if you don't pass on, where is that money?
No, you will pass on.
No. Yes. At the end of 10 years, you've not passed on.
Oh, no. We keep the money as Britam.
Yes.
So that's why we build what we call our reserves. All right. And we pay out on any death at any point in the year. Yes.
Okay. So obviously your people must know that there's such an agreement here, so that in the event that something happens to you, somebody can then go say, hi, Britam, and this has unfortunately happened. How can we start getting into this, right?
Yes.
Because you would have left instructions.
Yes.
Okay.
You should leave instructions.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's why I started off from like a will and any other documentation.
Yeah.
So your policy document should be one of those things. Yes.
Okay. Now, what are some of the factors then that have to be considered for you to start? Do I just say, well, I can put aside 5,000, I can put aside 10,000, and we can just go for it? Or are there other things that you'd have to look into?
As an individual, when you're coming to buy it, I would say first look at how much you can be able to afford. That's a good starting point. But also think about how much coverage you do need. I gave the ratio of 4 to 8 years. And in my view, you can be able to, even if you can't make it, let's say, to the 8 years and you need to, and let's say you planned for, say, 30 million shillings, but the premium I have can only buy maybe 10 million. Start with the 10 million. It will be growing by 3%. Maybe your income and circumstances will improve within the next 3-5 years. You can buy the additional 20 million at that point. Yes. So the maximum age with which you can you need to buy a whole life cover is by the time you're 65. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I think for a very long time, insurance as well, unfortunately, how many have looked at it is for the older generation. You know, the way people look at it, it is them who need it. You know, it is them because they're the ones who get sick and all that. But here then we're being told, when you talk about whole life plan, the younger you are and the earlier you start, the more affordable it is for you, because then you will pay less for a very long period of time, as opposed to when you're getting in there at an advanced age, you pay more, and even the benefits might just be less as compared to a person who's getting there. So one then asks the question, talk to us on the need of starting early and the benefits you get for doing that.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, I think you've covered it very well. For insurance types which depend on your health, like life insurance and health insurance, the younger you are, the cheaper your premiums are. For the simple reason, not even because you'll pay for a shorter period, it is because youth confers you with the benefits of long life, and you're quite fit. Yes. So the likelihood of you passing on, besides an accident, due to poor health, are very low. Okay. So the likelihood of you passing away because of poor health is very low. So even when we, as actuaries, look at the mortality graphs, young people are down here. As you grow older, things change significantly. So that is the main reason why. And if you start young and you're saying only pay for 10 years, so the 20-year-old or a 30-year-old who pays for 10 years still is comparable to the premiums will be paid by a 50-year-old who needs to pay for 10 years are significant. Could be three times the value of a whole life product. Yes.
And even when you talk about that, when you talk about the 3% interest that grows over time, so if you finish at, say, start at 20, by the time you're 30, the 3% will carry through the entire time.
Yes. In fact, you'll realize the impact of compound interest at 3% is amazing. 3% sounds low, but at 30, if it's 20 million, if you live to 80, it could end up being 100 million.
Okay. What if somebody's terminally ill and they know, but they take on a whole life plan?
Oh, okay. So, so if you're terminally ill, we've got what we call additional optional benefits, and there we have critical illness, and critical illness covers many types of terminal illnesses. So if you have cancer, stage 3, stage 4, you're given a payout. If you need to go for a major organ transplant, for example, like kidneys or anything else, it's a payout, or a stroke, there's a payout.
Aside from your lump sum later kind of thing?
Yes, it's in addition to, so you can get the payout now, so that it can help you deal with the costs of that particular terminal illness. And a few years later on, if you when you pass on, you still get the whole life benefit, which goes to your family, so that you can continue the legacy.
I like the way Dennis is just sure that we are going to pass on. And he keeps saying he will pass. Okay. I've forgotten that we don't like to talk about these things.
No, we must make it comfortable.
It's the truth.
You know? Yeah, because, this takes us to our next conversation about affordability, because let's just, if affordability would be given a song, would be Narudi Ocha. Bei ya mafuta imepanda, siwezi narudi Ocha, And when you talk about affordability of whole life plan at a time when cost of living is high and many do not afford that, bring us to conversation around affordability for those who want to get into it? Because many would say, I'm looking at the premiums, but kidogo affordability is a problem. So is it affordable for middle income earners, for those who want to get into it? And how does that conversation then start?
Okay. I think the straight answer from my perspective is for middle income earners, it is affordable. I would say it is, let's call it a trade-off. So probably at a minimum, you're spending, you're even saving maybe, let's say, 10,000 shillings per month on, let's say, you're depositing it in a money market fund or in your savings account. So I'm just saying, pluck 3,000 shillings, for example, and do for protection. You see, now you'll get cover for 5 million. All right? Then you can be saving the other 7,000. Yes. So, like we've been talking about, when you pass on, this is the 7,000 may not materialize to the equivalent of the 5 million.
Okay.
All right. So even if it's 10 years or 20 years from now, the 7,000, even if you're earning 10, 12%, may not make it to the 5 million. Okay. So it is important to now think about what are the trade-offs you can make even within your current financial planning framework that you do have. So not necessarily eat into your money for food and fuel. Yes, just reprioritize.
Okay. So, does it matter the number of beneficiaries that you have? Or are some of those things taken into consideration to help you then realize or say, this is how much? And what the actuaries, the folks who are looking at the numbers and making the predictions and all of this, do they say, well, this is what you need? Or is it completely based on what you're doing now? Because maybe somebody's taking this and they've got one child today, and then during that 10-year or how many ever year period of the term, they have another child. How do you then deal with the science? Or is it meant to take care of predictions with your current situation?
Thank you for that. So I think our general advice is usually start with your current situation. And the good thing about our products is they are flexible and you can always top up. So like the scenario that you've given, for most people, on average, at least life progresses at least upwards, maybe some very fast, others, but at least in a decent linear manner. So earnings do improve over time. And of course, families do grow. So I would say you plan with the circumstances that you have today, but always have an annual or every 2 years review your financial situation and say, is the initial plan I have working for me? What has changed? And do I need to change one or two things? Yes. So continuous review of your financial plan is necessary. You can't do it once and forget about it. Yes.
So United States, America, I'm doing my thing there on events with Ndu back in Nairobi, and many ask the question, as a Summer Bunny who's not here, but I want to continue with the legacy. Where do I start from? How do I get to be on this, despite the fact that I'm miles and miles away? Because many usually, when I want to come back home, I want to come back to Kenya and rest, because I toiled out there, but I know that I have something on the side. So how do that conversation start with those who are outside?
The beauty is we live in 2026 and communication is fantastic. And even our technology platforms are well available. So if even it's a simple SMS to 21778, they can say where they are. It doesn't matter. As long as they are Kenyans, they can be on cover immediately. So we have electronic application processes, electronic payment modes. They can pay us with Visa from the US. Yes. And every Kenyan, in the unfortunate event of even a death happening, they still can get a death certificate and claim their benefits from any part of the world. Yes.
Yeah. And as I'm doing that as well, so there is the unfortunate aspect, because life is also progresses. I am paying that, say it is 10,000 a month. Unfortunately, I lose my job, so paying that 10,000 bob becomes a little bit difficult as I look perhaps for another job, or I become critically ill, that my focus now shifts on me feeling well, or getting well, or disabled. How does that conversation start so that I don't lose what it is I have? And what happens if I'm unable to get back on the platform?
So the good for when you become ill or permanently disabled, what happens is one of the benefits of the product is to make sure that you first compensated for that terminal illness or disability.
Okay.
Then we waive future premiums for the legacy planning portion. So you continue benefiting from that. So you're no longer compelled to make any payments. You're not required to make any payments. Yes. For when you have lost your job or any other issue that's not health related, you've paid a certain proportion of your premiums, then you'll be entitled to a certain proportion of that legacy benefit. So if you pay 50% of the premiums, then you'll get 50% of the benefit. Okay. If circumstances change, you come talk to us, and we can begin a discussion about payment of arrears, and then you get back to the 100%. Yes.
Okay. So with things that we cannot see, it's difficult to then make a commitment to, like you say, okay, it's going to come later. And so that it's like people who you take insurance for health that you've not been sick. So you're like, okay, well, I'm not sick. So when I get sick is perhaps when I'll do something about it. What are the dangers of thinking like that?
So the main dangers I would say is, so you're living one day at a time. So you're exposing yourself to these unfortunate circumstances, things that you'll not be able to control. Okay. So let me say, legacy planning will give you, for lack of a better word, powers even from your grave to make sure the right things are happening. If you don't have that, then you're leaving everything to, what can I say, to good or bad luck, and to the fortunes of the world. And I would say this is not good especially for parents of young ones. Now, those are the ones who are very vulnerable and may not be able to defend themselves against certain other people taking advantage of them. So it's important that you plan for them. That's why I say even this product is more important for the young than the old. Right? The older the children have grown up and have got a few wits on how to survive. Yes, but when you've got young kids, that would be very unfortunate to leave them to the world to decide what to do. Yes. So to me, that would be it. So have a plan. That way, your children do not suffer, and everything that happens to them afterwards is very predictable, and it's on the positive side. Otherwise, everything you have done will go to waste.
Because you see, we hustle, we grind every day to make our lives. For your information, I'm ambassador for good life today and in the future. I keep telling you, at the time when I'm not here, I don't want my ghost to struggle on how I left. on how the people I've left will be leaving. Yes. So this is an important conversation to have, and we also talk about the fact that transfer of wealth, especially in the country today, we see what happens in the wealthy families and how difficult it is to pass that from one generation to the other. Now, here we have a plan based off what you've talked about that secures that future. So, in the event that I'm gone, is it open for me then to leave instructions on how I want that money to be spent, on what exactly it will do? Because then again, failure to have that or to disclose to my family that I had this whole life plan on the side, how will they know about it? So what responsibility then or assurance will I get that in the event that I'm not there, you will take the responsibility to disclose and let my people know?
Okay. So in terms of, so there are various ways you can have the payouts made to you. So one of the benefits, for example, of the whole life is that you name a beneficiary.
Okay.
So you'll say it is do getting the money and the percentage could be 100%. But no one else but do will get the money.
Okay.
All right. Do will just come with her documents to prove she's due, and she gets the money. No discussions about going to court. If somebody's not happy, straight to do.
Yeah.
So that's great when the beneficiary is an adult. What we recommend is when, for example, it's a minor or a child, then now we complement it with a trust. Okay. So the money goes into the trust, and that's why you set out specific instructions on what should be done for the child or the children. Okay, so you'll say, I want this money to be paying for A, B, C, D, and nothing else. And when they become a certain age, 25 or whatever number you think is suitable, or create another hurdle, they must have graduated university and gotten a job.
Important.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they can unlock the money, the full lump sum.
Yeah.
Or the remaining lump sum, isn't it? And even during while it's in the trust, we invest it and it earns a return. Okay, so that it beats inflation at the end of the day. So that's when you can be able to leave those instructions. So what do you recommend? So once you take the cover, what I believe in personally is being transparent with the beneficiaries and saying, yes, you are protected. This is what I've put aside and set for you, and the records are here. Be aware.
A lot of, also one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning as to why not a lot of people take on insurance in whatever shape or form, is that they have trust issues. That how do you know that the money that you put aside, whether it's 3,000 or 3 million, is actually going to be kept, used, come to your people at the end of the term? Because guess what, you're not there, so you're not able to confirm, right? So how can we be sure, how can people be sure that this money that they put aside, whether it's for this whole life plan, whether it's for the other things that you spoke about, will actually come to you? Because you're taking a risk, aren't you?
Yes, so I would say yes, there are two risks you're taking on. Is on the provider side. So for example, like Britam, will Britam pay? Isn't it? I think that's probably the biggest one. So I would say what you do is do your homework around who the providers are. Confirm, do they pay? Who are they paying today? Who have they paid the last 5 years? So like come to Britam and see our records of payments. Even come see our financial statements. You'll see most of the premiums that we get go to paying claims. Yes, and there are many testimonies around that. So a good benchmark is probably what is the past practice, and the people who've complained about not being paid, why are they complaining, and understand the circumstances. And also we do give you clear information around that. Also there are many consumer protection bodies around in the industry, so you can go to the IRA. They're very vibrant and proactive, so if there are any complaints, you can go there and make sure that you are compensated. If an insurance company collapses, we do have the insurance protection fund under the IRA, so which makes sure that we usually pay like a premium to them also, so that now in the event of any underwriter collapsing, then all policyholders are compensated.
How are they compensated?
By the Policyholder Protection Fund.
No. I mean, like, is there going to be now a story or fairy tale later? Well, the thing went down, so we're going to give you 50% of what you paid in. That's what I mean. But how are you compensated in the event that something should go belly up, and you've paid that premium to the IPF?
Yes.
How then are you given back everything that you've put in?
So it depends, all right, on the insurance product.
Okay.
So if it was one where you're supposed to pay premiums continuously, until the end of the term, you'll continue being on cover up to the end of the term.
Okay.
All right. So you're on cover for that. If that's not possible, then they pay you. They make a payout of what you've paid out before. Then you can go and continue with another provider.
Okay.
So it's usually a continuation of cover or a refund of premiums. Sometimes not 100%, but a reasonable amount.
Okay. And why would any insurance not pay claims? Because you said you talked about a large percent of the claim payments, of the premiums that you receive are going towards claim payments.
Yes.
And so you pay, right? And this is important to know, Dennis, because you pay. So under what circumstances would you not pay a claim?
Okay. So we usually have the contract which states what are you exactly covered for.
Okay.
But let me talk about life insurance. So usually these days there's not really much in terms of exclusions per se. You'll even realize even things like suicide. Before we used to be very strict about those particular parameters, but these days we are not. So before, like, you'd be told if you committed suicide within 2 years, there'd be no payment. So right now it would be probably a shorter period of time, let's say like 6 months or 3 months. Okay. So that we make sure there's no moral hazard, because others will not be a sustainable business. With that kind of practice. Okay, so we are recognizing such things. These days, exclusions for things like HIV, AIDS, and stuff like that is no longer a critical issue to deny a claim or even
so
deny
you cannot deny somebody who's HIV positive,
even to take up the policy.
You can't deny them from taking a policy where previously you would.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there. At best, maybe not be on cover for 100 million, but a small amount, maybe at most to 10 million or 20 million per se. Okay, so you'd be on cover for that. And these days, it's quite manageable, especially with ARV. So many are living long and fulfilling lives. So it's no longer the scare that used to be there, let's say, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. So I want to look at, most of the time, whenever Kenyans or whenever individuals are getting into these policies, there is always the fear that the policy document is too difficult to understand that many usually just sign on the dotted line.
Right.
You know, because you look at the document and the legalese language in there, and you're like, yo, this one is meant for a senior counsel. Yeah. This one is meant for a senior counsel, you know, or an underwriter who understands the language. But here then we are saying, for me to be there has to be trust. I have to be sure of what as well I'm getting in it. What's the responsibility then that if I'm taking a cover with Britam, that everything will be disclosed, I get to understand. So what responsibility do you take in ensuring that every customer, every policy holder understands the document?
Okay. No, thank you for that question. So, so we've got a well-trained team of financial advisors who do give the information and break it down to the individual at their level of understanding, and even we work across Kenya, so even in multiple languages that is broken down, especially at the financial advisory level. We have our various disclosures that we do have, especially with our product documentation, brochures, and which summarize the key benefits. And that's even, I would say, more important than the lengthy policy document, because usually, in fact, that is a standard we commit to ourselves. So what you read in the brochure is what we will give you, all right, as Britam. Over and above that, if you've got more questions, we've got a very robust customer service team. You can call and ask for clarification on what you do need. And then also we do what we call client education and awareness. So we usually send out tidbits of communication around what your product is and how it performs as well. But I also like to provide comfort, especially like on life insurance. There's usually a lot of exclusions these days. So we've got products of where if you don't go for medical underwriting, you pay a little extra premium and there are no questions asked, let's say at the point of making a claim. Okay, and then if you go for medical examination, even better. We have no reason, because now we know everything.
But let's on medical investigations. Say we are two interested customers, right? I have gone for my medical examination today as opposed to another individual who has not. Does that then have any differences on the policy? What does that mean on the overall uptake of the same? Are there any caveats on that?
Yes, we've kept it quite simple. Okay. So the only difference will be in terms of the premium that you pay. Everything else remains the same. Okay. All right. So the person who decided to go for medical examination, if they're in good health, they'll pay a lower premium than this other individual.
Okay.
All right. If their health is a bit more deteriorated compared to this other person, usually then we'll load some risk charges on that. But then we do disclose that, and before even you issue the policy, you must accept the new terms.
Okay.
So once you're happy with the incremental premium because of maybe you've got maybe some diabetes or high blood pressure or any other thing, then everything else remains the same. The terms and conditions of payment are the same.
And what if I just refuse to do a medical cover?
But
no, we do have an option for you,
Okay.
but you cannot buy beyond a certain limit. So if you wanted cover beyond, I think currently it's 15 million shillings, then that's a ceiling for you.
Okay.
But if you want to buy 20, 30 million shillings, then you must go for medical examination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want even more than 100 million, then yes, you can come and we have that discussion and you go for extra medical reviews. Yeah.
Okay. Can you pay for some of these things up front instead of saying you run into some cash, you did a job, you know, did a gig and you got some cash and you say, okay, well, I want this thing for 20 million shillings, whatever. And
Just
this is going to be
a tender.
Right? And then you say, okay, well, I've got the extra cash and I want the 30 million whole life plan. Can you put the cash up front, pony it up and say, okay, let's do the thing, go. So that you can now use your salary to do other things.
Oh, yes. No. As even as a GM for business development.
Yeah, you like that kind of thing.
So let me give an example for the 20 million cover. So depending on your age, you could, and these are broad range, let's say 30 to 50. Then if you're on 20 million cover, then you'll pay probably between 15 and 30% of that 20 million if you pay it up front. So what is 15% of 20 million? 10% is what, 2 million? 3 million.
3 million, yeah.
Yes, 3 million. And you've got 20 million cover.
Yeah.
And you don't pay anything else.
And you just wait until the bell tolls.
You just wait for Parapanda. And you see, at that time, then as well, if I paid up front, the interest starts compounding immediately.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, the 20 million grows by 3%, not the 3 million. The 20 million. Yes. It is a 20 million that grows by 3%.
Oh, hold up. Just a minute.
Yes.
So it's actually not 20 million. It's more.
Yes. The longer you live, the more you get.
Okay. So you take it when, of course, that's why it makes sense to take it when you're younger. Because then as the more you live on that 20 million shillings, you could end up getting 100 million bob.
Yes.
Depending on,
how long you live.
On how long you live. All right. Let's eat omena and duma. So, okay. all kinds of comes together. One of the things that we also find, just because of the job that we do, is that people will not embrace something that they do not know or understand. And it's also very difficult to let people know something late in the game. So what am I saying? How early do we start to have insurance conversations? Because you started off by talking about that it's not just the whole life plan that you talk about. There are other things that you have in place, education, motor vehicle, health, all sorts of things. But the insurance conversation usually starts when somebody has a job. And they're pretty well ahead in life by the time they've done that. We know that people get jobs very early, it's possible.
Yes.
But my point here is that how early in the system do people start to understand the concept of insurance? And I'm talking about at school. How do we start to have that conversation so that you get to understand that, okay, this is actually something that can help you later and that you can work towards leaving something for later? Because by the time somebody is 24, 25, they're set in their ways.
Yeah.
So how do you set this in the ways of somebody when they are younger?
That is a good question. I think when I reflect on my youth, I remember there's a subject called commerce in high school, and at least I remember seeing insurance there. And that's what inspired me to get into this career.
Okay.
All right. I'm not too sure about what is taught in high school right now. But I think probably it is probably as a society not start thinking about how do we do financial education for our children and teach them these things at the right age, so that when they come to work, they are prepared and know, fine, this money I have is not just to enjoy myself. Maybe I can do that the first year, but I need to grow up after year one and then start planning for even basic savings. So, and also having this conversation, I see these days, maybe especially in companies, but in the informal sector, we don't have that. You got good HR departments who are working on financial awareness for their staff. But where to start? So I guess if you started, let's say you're single, then I would say start with saving for the next 3 years. Okay. Maybe later on start saving for retirement also is quite important. I would say life insurance is quite important where you have dependents, especially children.
Okay.
Yes. So once you become a parent, then I say it is a must-have, not a nice-to-have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing about all this is we need to start today. Information needs to get here. But there is also the need for one to understand where to go to. So I wanted to come to Britam today, right? Where do I start from? Online, TikTok, Facebook?
Fantastic. So you've mentioned it here. So start with SMS first at 21778 with the word life, and we'll be able to reach out to you. We also have got our WhatsApp channels. WhatsApp us at 0705100100, and you'll be able to reach us out, or email us at customerservice@britam.com, or get in touch. I'm sure many of you may have a Britam financial advisor. Yes, call them up, and they'll be able to come talk to you and tailor make a solution for you based on your specific circumstances. Yeah.
Okay. Do this saving for your loved ones for tomorrow, because all the time I wanted to save to buy a house, but you were talking about you're saving to buy that mansion for them when you're not there to ensure that they are sorted. I think it's incredible. We need to start that conversation today to make it perhaps a dinner table conversation.
Absolutely. Right? Something that we can talk about all the time. But that we do have these conversations, I guess, is what builds as we go along. Dennis Moria, thank you for joining us in this conversation this morning. And just to be able to hear, and that it doesn't have to be something like the big bad wolf that we run away from, but that we can actually embrace it. And I think that's one of the things that is why it's important for us to talk this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Asante sana. Good morning, folks, and thank you for being part of the conversation this morning. We'll talk again tomorrow, God willing. It's 10 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital has established a 13-bed quarantine unit to manage potential Ebola cases. According to the hospital's disease control officer, Dr. Moses Opundi, the facility was set up after the Nyanza and Western regions were identified as being at risk due to the proximity to neighboring Uganda.
Yeah, so far what we have done is that we have three isolation rooms within the facility, first and foremost from the casualty and the ward. But remember, Ebola need to be contained because of the biosafety involved. So again, now we have an annex. So the annex has 6 rooms. So it has 6 closed rooms which can handle 6 patients, and also 4 general wards where you can also now, after doing contact tracing, you can isolate the patient. So that's a 13 to 14, that's a very good number for now, because we have never had Ebola case in Kenya.
And Dr. Opundi outlined some of the symptoms associated with Ebola and urged residents to seek immediate medical attention if they experience any signs of the disease.
So again, Ebola is a virus, so it's called a viral hemorrhagic fever. So basically, just the same way we had COVID-19, the basic things, it's like a flu, a homa. So you'll have the fevers, the weakness, the tiredness. Now, the only special thing about viral hemorrhagic fevers is that